This sport sponsored by Wendy's. New biggie deal. Padres win the series against the Giants, taking on the Cardinals tonight at 7 o'clock. Prime time on ESPN. Michael King will be on the mound for San Diego. And STFC signed free agent goalkeeper Jacob Jackson through the 2026 season with a club option through the 2027. He's from San Diego. In the Lake Show tonight, game 2 taking on Oklahoma City. You can hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. It's at 6:30. Oklahoma City 15.5 point favorite with the point total set at 211.5. Choose one of the Wendy's new biggie deals at $4, $6, and $8. Pick one of the new biggie deals you're craving for a pretty biggie deal. Got to be Wendy's. U.S. price participation may vary.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
I'm excited about it. It brings a lot of people together.
Now, live from the East Set Studios of San Diego Sports 760, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Thursday. What's happening, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling after that. Go along with Sammy from 2 to 3. Schaefer and Sliwa. Our new afternoon drive show will take you the rest of the way home. Busy show today. Couple of guests for you. Derek Togerson with NBC7 is jumping on. We're going to break down Fernando Tatis Jr.'s swing. We're all going to be swing coaches today, just like the internet loves to do. And then Coach Quintera is going to be jumping on at 1:30. A story that broke yesterday that we're keeping an eye on is this Joe Lacob comments to Sportico, where he essentially hinted at there not being a baseball season in 2027. We'll get into that as the day goes on, as well as Lakers and OKC game number 2 coming up later tonight, as well as Netflix taking over the NFL. We are slammed on a Thursday. What's happening, everybody? Sammy, you ready to have a great show?
I am ready to have a great show.
Like the best show ever, maybe greatest ever?
Best show we could ever have.
The GOAT show? Is that what we're calling this one today?
Well, we have to do the show first, and then other people can say it's the GOAT show.
That's right. That's exactly what.
That's some high expectations to put on us before we start.
Well, that's the next 2 hours for you. The greatest show in the history of radio. So let's get it started with this. Padres played yesterday. The Padres win 5-1 yesterday. I got to tell you, this is maybe one of the more impressive Padre wins of the season in my mind. And I know that sounds kind of crazy. It's May 7th. Who really cares about the ongoings of every single day life in Major League Baseball? But I'll tell you why it was impressive to me. Because Craig Stammen's kind of found his pocket as a manager, right? And it feels like every button he's pushing right now is working, even the ones he sort of screws up. And he sort of screwed up the Ty France at bat yesterday. But Ty France recovers and he hits a triple down the right field line. And it was a sliding dive missed by the Giants, but it was the go-ahead runs for the Padres. Craig Stammen said, you know what? Matt Waldron's been struggling in early innings. We're going to give him an opener today. Bradley Rodriguez goes out, pitches a perfect first frame, and then Matt Waldron comes in and is fantastic for 6.5 innings. And then they close the game out with Adrian Morejon and Mason Miller. Craig Stammen pinch hits or substitutes Xander Bogaerts in defensively at shortstop after Sungmun Song had a couple of rough at-bats. Xander Bogaerts' first appearance at the plate, the first pitch he sees, home run to left field. Everything just kind of seems to be working right now for Craig Stammen, and a lot of credit goes his way, and I think a lot of credit goes the players' way because they're buying in to whatever Craig Stammen is doing, and he's doing it a little alternatively, something we never really saw with Mike Schultz, something we never really saw with Bob Melvin, and Craig Stammen sort of figuring out his own way as a manager. And it's working right now because you're seeing a little bit of buy-in from the players. I loved the way the Padres played yesterday. I thought that was a very complete game from them, from the opener to the starter to the closers. Everything worked out yesterday for the Padres, and it was a nice, boring, business-like win for the San Diego Padres, which rack up enough of those, and you're heading right back to the postseason.
I think Craig Stammen has deserved really high marks for him as a manager. To everything you just said, it's very refreshing coming off Mike Schultz, who was kind of nauseating to cover. I'll be honest. And he talked about how the media got after him. I mean, because he would never change. It was the same thing every day. He'd just run the same lineup out there. He wouldn't mess with the order. It's cool that you would think that the rookie manager, who a lot of people, even the biggest Craig Stammen fans, had some concerns when he was hired of, is it like, can this guy really crack it at the major league level on a team that has World Series aspirations? You would think that guy would be the one who didn't want to, shake up the what does the saying go? Shake up the apple cart or whatever. Like that's what you would think that sure. You wouldn't want to kind of ruffle feathers to some of the stars, moving Tatis down the order, making Machado, Tatis, Merrill, Bogaerts all take off days. That's something that That's a hard conversation. Machado's made it very clear over the years he does not want to take off days, even though the best thing for him is to take off days. So I give him all the credit in the world. I think Craig Stammen's done an excellent job through the first month and a half here. And it is a comparison when you're looking at Tony Vitello on the other side, who is a rookie manager. He comes from the college ranks. Stammen comes from being a former player. And if you were comparing the two in the same division, now the Padres do have a much more talented team than the Giants. Craig Stammen, there's some problems with this Padres team. Craig Stammen is not one of them. And I don't know if I would have said that before the season started.
I really think he's been terrific so far. And I kind of feel like he's a 3-point shooter who's just making all of his shots right now. Like yesterday, everything just worked out for Craig Stammen, which is nice to see. Now that's against the Giants, who have really struggled this year. Tonight, you take another step up in competition. It's the St. Louis Cardinals coming to town to take on the Padres at Petco Park. Tonight's game on ESPN, by the way, it's prime time for the Padres. Carl Ravitch probably in the host seat. I think Adam Ottavino, who used to be a player for the Cardinals, is making his first appearance on an ESPN broadcast tonight. So it'll be fascinating to see Padres in prime time, different start time by like 20 minutes. Who cares? But it'll be interesting to see how the Padres stepping up in competition tonight with their ace, Michael King, on the mound tonight. If they can keep the good times rolling, because I do believe 1-2 in long shots, we call that a streak. And right now the Padres on a streak. Does the streak continue?
And this is an interesting comparison to series. So when you look at the Cardinals, it feels like a big game tonight in the sense of not a lot of national pundits are praising the Padres. I think we in San Diego know that there's a lot of talent with this team, but to be fair to the national pundits, when the Padres have stepped up and played better ball clubs, they haven't won, or at least they haven't won the series. They haven't looked great. This is a prime opportunity. Again, this Cardinal team took it to the Dodgers last weekend, Friday and Saturday, beat them up pretty badly, actually. Dodgers salvaged one on Sunday, but the bullpen is actually really rough for St. Louis, 27th in the league. So historically, as of this season, the Padres have really done well when they've gotten to bullpens, but this team does rank 6th in power, and kind of surprising. That wasn't really a big expectation for the Cardinals, was that they would be top 6 in power, but that is something that you want to see in this series, a step up in competition when you're beating these teams. Like when the Padres took on the Cubs outslugged them. The outside of that game one, the power was on the Cubs side. Statistically, the power is on the Cardinals side in this series. But if the Padres are really going to make a statement on a national broadcast tonight, where a lot more people are going to be tuning in besides just local people in San Diego, it does feel like kind of a semi big game for changing the narrative nationally on the Padres.
And also, you're going to be good at home. Like the Padres have been kind of weird at home this year. So remember, they started the year off with 6 straight home games. Detroit and San Francisco, they lost 4 out of 6 of those games. And then they had a 7-game homestand against Colorado and Seattle where they swept the whole thing. They played terrific baseball. But then that last homestand they just had against the 2 Chicago teams, what'd they do there? They won 2 out of the 6 games. So it's like the Padres at home haven't necessarily been the same team. And I would like them to take advantage of the 45,000 plus that are going to be at Petco over the next 3 games or 4 games against the St. Louis Cardinals, and really try to fire some in there for the home crowd. And it'd be good to see them have a little bit of that energy that we saw yesterday at home. All right, let's get to the big 3 of our number 1. Again, Joe Lacob comments, they're a little disturbing if you're looking to the future of Major League Baseball. We'll get to those in a little bit. Plus, Netflix is about to own a day in the NFL. We'll tell you why in a little bit. But Sammy, let's get to the big 3 here of our number 1. Go ahead, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big 3.
YouTube is up at San Diego Sports 760. Go ahead, give us a subscribe. Text line is open, 70470. Start your message with the word team. Get on in there any way you can with this show. We'd love to have you part of the team. Sammy, where are we going?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
the man himself always
off season, so we need to talk Aaron Rodgers every day.
Of course, and Aaron Rodgers, for us radio hosts who sometimes in the off season they're trying to find stories. Aaron Rodgers and the Cowboys, basically, we need a story. Always something there. Aaron Rodgers, though, per Ian Rappaport, on his way to Pittsburgh for a visit with the team, but in all likelihood expected to sign back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This comes after the last week. Kendrick Bourne, receiver for the Cardinals, trying to kind of recruit him to Arizona. Do you like this for both sides? From the Steeler perspective and for the Aaron Rodgers perspective, Who do you think is winning here, or are they both winning?
It kind of feels like they're both losing. Look, I would imagine this is Aaron Rodgers' final season. Aaron Rodgers is fine, and he's an okay quarterback at this point. He's above average. He's still one of the best 32 people at the position on the planet. I have no doubt in saying that. The Steelers are fine, but unfortunately, that's all this is. It is two kind of fine things pairing together for another season where they're probably going to win 8 or 9 games, be good enough to miss out on the top 10 of the NFL draft, but not be good enough to make any noise in the postseason. I don't love this for either side. I really don't. I kind of thought that the Steelers were going in a different direction when they let go of Mike Tomlin or parted ways with Mike Tomlin. I thought that they were going to do probably the wise thing, which is try to skip a rebuild, which I guess if the money's right with Aaron Rodgers, you potentially could still do that. But they need to get cheaper and younger on the defensive side. They need to add to the draft through the draft on the offensive side. The Steelers feel like they're still in a little bit of no man's land right now.
Yeah, I've been very vocal. I don't see the. If I was an Arizona Cardinals fan, I'd be throwing a parade today. Seriously, because while you're probably not going to have a great 2026 season, you're going to be picking Arch Manning or Dante Moore next year, along with Jeremiah Love, and the Arizona Cardinals, along with Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., probably a year from now, are going to be one of the most exciting young offenses in the league. And you kind of pointed to it right there. I thought the whole point of moving on from Mike Tomlin was you were trying to go in a different direction. But if you're just going to bring the band back together, Mike Tomlin's a better coach than Mike McCarthy. I genuinely don't get it. Now, from a Pittsburgh fan perspective, I guess, Michael Pittman's there now. You finally have a legit number 2 option behind DK Metcalf. We'll see. The offense should be better. The defense is always pretty good in Pittsburgh. So you're kind of looking at the same thing you always are, a 9, 10, maybe 11 win team.
Always pretty good under Mike Tomlin.
Under Mike Tomlin.
Same under Mike McCarthy. That's a big change.
And I'll tell you who puts a lot of pressure on. The Cincinnati Bengals. Because if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, I fully expect the Ravens to win that division with all the talent they have coming back. Kyle Hamilton, Lamar fully healthy. I love what they did, adding Trey Hendrickson, getting the guard out of Penn State. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you have had 2 seasons marred by injuries now and a lack of a defense. If you let the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Rodgers, who will be competent, do I think they're going to win a Super Bowl? No. But they will be a competent football team and will win a lot of games. If they beat you out for a wild card spot, I would not be surprised if Joe Burrow's on his way out of town.
All right, what's next?
Very, very quickly. All right, let's go to let's stick with the NFL. Drake May calls Mike Vrabel a, quote, a great human being.
Man, have you seen the stuff coming out today?
Oh, my.
Video. Oh. We got video.
And he also says he's not worried about the distractions that have happened in the offseason program. Greater question as a whole, are the Patriots one of the favorites in the AFC next year?
No, because I think their schedule is going to be a lot tougher. I don't think they're that good. They got real lucky last year with the AFC being down with all the injuries around them. Like Josh Allen, broken ankle, Bo Nix, or Josh Allen had a broken foot. Bo Nix had a broken ankle. Like the Patriots just kind of walked into the Super Bowl this year and then got their asses handed to them by the Seahawks. To the other part, the Drake May part, he did the right thing at the podium. Anything else would have been a big, big story and would have been bad. Can I say this about the Mike Vrabel thing? Because now TMZ is doing the digging. I don't know if there's some private informant that maybe Diana Rossini's husband hired 6 years ago. That's the alleged rumors, who's been filming Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini every day for the last 6 years or every time they meet up. What I will say is this is an NFL locker room. Do you really think they care? Like Mike Vrabel, by all aspects, seems like he's been an excellent head coach his entire career. It was kind of odd, actually, when the Tennessee Titans were like, yeah, we're done with this Mike Vrabel era. Maybe this is part of it. Who knows? But now Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the New England Patriots. This is like the 6th biggest scandal that's ever rocked the New England Patriots. Honestly, I feel terrible for the families. This is a meme now, which, yes, they're very funny online, and all the pictures that you guys have been DMing me, I'm talking to you, Patrick Allen, are very funny about the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel thing. This is an NFL locker room. Can you throw a rock in an NFL locker room without finding at least one cheater? The answer is probably no. And that's allegedly, that is me assuming a lot of different things.
Well, I don't know that they care about the situation.
Exactly.
I think what they should care about is the fact that everyone's passing them. I think the Patriots think that they're going to walk back in here because they went to the Super Bowl. Let's look at this road to the Super Bowl. Bo Nix.
The Patriots suck this year. It's going to have nothing to do with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. I promise you that.
But they've done nothing in the offseason. like they've let Stephon Diggs go. You signed Romeo Dobbs to an inflated contract. Yes, you're expected to get AJ Brown here in a month. How's that going to go? I mean, AJ Brown ran his mouth popped off to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a damn Super Bowl MVP and has been to 2 and played great in both games. What the hell is going to happen when Drake May is not giving him the ball enough?
Do you see the new video of Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel walking down the boat dock together while she was pregnant with her son, who's now named Michael?
Yeah.
Did you see the TMZ report that they rented a boat and they were the only 2 on the boat while she was pregnant with their son, who's now named Michael? Like, this is drama, dude.
Distractions.
If you want reality TV and you're a dude, NFL, stick around. It's a lot of fun. It is kind of crazy, though, the meme. Like, I do feel terrible for the 2 families, and now we're part of it. So thanks a lot, Sammy. NBA playoffs on the other side. That was going to be big 3, number 3, yep. Right? We got some injuries popping up in that Knicks series. Lakers game 2 coming up tonight. We'll just do a whole conversation on it. Coming up.
Jay Silv said the love boat.
Dude, it is the love boat. They were the only 2 on the boat. She was like visibly pregnant.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Wonder why they're the only 2 on the boat.
Like, I get it. My wife watches Bravo every night, man. This should be its own series.
This is real. Yeah. Bravo's fake.
Some of it's fake. I don't know. It's San Diego Sports 760. NBA playoffs next, live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. Till 2:00. We call this the candy shop every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
The text line yesterday was
text line yesterday was frisky.
Text line yesterday was wild.
I don't know, dude. Was there like a holiday or something? Did people have the day off? Because it seemed like our text line was drinking by about 12:30.
Text line had been to a few candy shops yesterday.
San Diego Sports 760. We got 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every single weekday with the bonus bucks contest. Listen every hour from 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Listen for the keyword. Enter it at sportssd.com. Next chance to win $1,000 coming up soon here on San Diego Sports 760. $1,000 would be nice right about now. Let me tell you what, when you go to fill up the truck at the gas station, it's like you just see your paycheck disappearing these days. So $1,000 would do a lot of help. So keep listening for that keyword.
You know, it's bad when your arm gets tired from, sitting there.
And Sammy, just depending on how much gas costs, doesn't take any longer to pump a gas tank. It's the same amount of liquid going in.
Is that the case?
Yes, dude. It doesn't take longer to pump gas when it's more expensive.
Maybe last time I ran it down farther.
Also,
do
who's holding the gas pump anymore? They have the little latches. They do it for you.
Oh no, you got to get a little arm workout.
Sometimes the things you say, man, are kind of crazy. It doesn't take longer when it's more expensive. The gas still flows at the same rate. It's just the money goes up faster.
I think in my head it flows slower. I'm sitting there watching my entire paycheck disappear, thinking about how I can't eat dinner tonight. And it feels slow.
If you'd like to win $1,000, just keep listening to San Diego Sports 760. Get that keyword and take it over to sportssd.com. All right, we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but I just got the official text that the men's and women's NCAA basketball brackets will expand from 68 to 76 teams beginning next year. The vote was earlier today. It is officially official as of right now. We can react to that in a little bit. But game 2, Lakers OKC coming up tonight. Still no Luka, right?
Nope. No
Luka. We'll see. The spread's huge in this one too.
15.5.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if Sammy wants to put anything down on that again. But OKC, it feels like this is another win. The Lakers, they probably need it if they want Luka back in this series.
Oh, well, the series is probably done. But if they have any chance to even extend the series, they have to win tonight.
So you will hear that game coming up on San Diego Sports 760. But I think the bigger news of the day is OG Anunoby, who's maybe been one of the better players in this entire postseason, is going to be missing some time, Sammy.
I think that's a problem for the Knicks. And how about that game last night? I mean, the Sixers are better without Joel Embiid. Like when they actually play.
I mean, I don't know about that. Joel Embiid single-handedly got them a win in the previous series.
But it is like Colin Cowherd said this earlier. The last 3 games is a microcosm of Joel Embiid's career. Unbelievable in game 7, gets the win. Terrible in game 1 against the Knicks, doesn't play in game 2. I mean, this is like his thing. If you're Philly, you have to be so frustrated with the fact that you can never rely on this guy. And last night, the offense, they held the Knicks to 19 points in the fourth quarter. They went 4-19 from the field. They probably should have won the game. They just went ice cold down the stretch. Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe. But I don't know if this series changes. I do think Philly gets a couple games in Philadelphia, but Knicks probably win the series.
Knicks are up 2-0 already. I would say that series probably done.
But OG Anunoby not being there, that's a huge loss. Been the second leading scorer for the Knicks so far in the postseason, and that's a 3-and-D wing defender that the Knicks I don't think has the offense to go up against in OKC or a team like that. But they do have excellent defenders with Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart. Like they got a lot of guys. They're kind of built like OKC just without the lack of offense coming off the bench. If Anunoby's out, I think that the winner of that Pistons Cavs series could really do some damage because that's a really big loss for them.
It's a hamstring thing, so it's similar to Luka's injury. We'll see how long he's going to be out, but that is a problem. Like Jalen Brunson catches all the headlines. The worker on that team is Anunoby. I'm curious to see how.
And it lets Brunson just focus on the offense.
Right. Now Spurs beat the crap out of the T-Wolves last night. There's some jibber jabbering going on in that series, man, and I'm loving it. I'm here for it. I actually do think this is going to be a series. It's 1-1 right now.
I don't read too much into last night.
Spurs kicked the crap out of them last night, but you're thinking about it. T-Wolves already got one on the road, right? And so maybe this was a little bit of a scheduled loss for them last night. Curious to see how that looks when it goes back to Minnesota. All right, quick break here. Derek Togerson on the other side. Look, we're happy with where the Padres are at right now. Record's great. 7 games over 500. I think at this point in the season, you'd sign up for that any day of the week. Fernando Tatis Jr. not hitting home runs. The man with the answer of why is on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by expresspros.com. Padres taking on the Cardinals. 4-game set starting tonight. Got Michael King on the mound for the Pods back at home at Petco Park. That game again will be at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And the Lakers game 2 tonight taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder 15.5-point favorites. That game is at 6:30 tonight. Luke Kennard is questionable while Jared Vanderbilt is doubtful. Hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760. Facing production swings or a tough skills gap, Workforce Solutions From Express Employment, professionals make hiring easier. Find your local office and see how Express can help you hire smarter and faster for contract and full-time jobs. Visit expresspros.com.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. 484 texting in. I believe that's our buddy Handyman Matt says, if a tank of gas and a case of Coors Banquet consumes your entire paycheck, Sammy, it may be time to consider OnlyFans. You look like the type of guy to have hairy hobbit feet. If Shannon Elizabeth can make $1 million in a week, you can pull at least $50.
Why do you think I played Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye?
Look, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. I don't know. My truck is a 30-gallon tank. When gas prices are like $6.20
You thought about doing some OnlyFans?
Thought about it. Haven't done it yet.
Are you just a pics guy?
Haven't pulled the trigger yet. Thinking about it still. Maybe our next guest has some ideas on that. Derek Togerson of NBC 7. I think Derek Togerson drives a truck as well. It hasn't been fun lately, but Derek, you could win $1,000 if you listen for the keyword, then enter it at sportsst.com, or you could open an OnlyFans account. What do you think about that?
What the hell conversations you guys pull me into?
Well,
I wasn't aware that I was. Sam goes, "Hey man, Rick Dawson, Padres, yeah, sure, come on." And we're talking about OnlyFans, hairy feet. I'm like,
we always like to surprise you.
Look, Derek, no. I always like to say there's a shoe for every foot. And someone out there would probably pay a little bit of money for Sammy's hairy hobbit feet.
And that person is Rex Ryan, and we all know that. So, how about this? Look, I don't even have social media. I don't take pictures of myself. No, God, no, never, no.
It's a missed business opportunity, Derek.
But I also have integrity. So I'm gonna stick with that.
Integrity. Who needs it? It's 2026, man. No one has that anymore. All right, Derek Togerson. We've been teasing you up. We've actually been giving you a lot of credit. I don't know if it was due or not, but I said the man who knows what's wrong with Fernando Tatis Jr.'s swing, why he's not hitting home runs in 2026, is named Derek Togerson, and he's going to explain it to you all starting right now.
It's a tack angle. There you go. Okay, so listen, I'm watching Toddy swing the bat, and his swing looks more flat to me than it normally has been. So I'm all right, so that's the eyeball test. Let's see if we can marry some numbers with the eyeball test. And sure enough, thanks to our friends at Baseball Savant, the attack angle of his swing is incredibly flat. All right, let me give you an example. His career average is about 12 degrees. That means it's coming slightly up as it's coming through the hitting zone. All right. I took a look at what are the three best power hitters in baseball right now. Kyle Schwarber, Aaron Judge, both 14 degrees. Shohei Ohtani, 13 degrees. Todd is usually at 12 when he's hitting the ball well. It was about 13 when he had that 42 home run season back in 2021. This year, 6 degrees. So he has cut his attack angle literally in half, and it is very difficult for him to get loft on the baseball. How many times have we seen a line drive 107 miles an hour off the bat die at 15 feet in front of the fence because it just doesn't have enough loft to carry over? Hitting the ball hard is not the problem. Getting loft on the ball is a problem. That's why he's not hit. I don't know. I don't know how or why or when his bat flattened out, or is this a progressive thing or something he worked on in the off season? He doesn't really like to talk about it. So yeah, for me, it's a pretty simple fix. You get more loft in the swing. You maybe start just a slight little uppercut to lift the baseball a little bit, like Ted Williams said back in The Science of Hitting all those years ago. And now you're going to be able to hit the ball over the fence. It should be a simple fix. I don't know why no one else has picked up on this.
Fletch and I were talking earlier about, we kind of both gave Craig Stammen high marks for changing up the lineup, moving Tatis down the batting order, giving some guys some days off, just trying new things. What, in your assessment, what do you think of Craig Stammen a month and a half in?
I think early on it was a little bit dicey, and he has learned really fast. I mean, he's learned really fast. He's impressed the hell out of me. So I love what Stammen's doing. He's obviously got the ear of the clubhouse. He's using guys in the proper way. He's getting guys a day off. He's riding the hot hand. And what's great about him, he won me over when he moved Toddy down to the 5 spot, because that tells everybody in that lineup, you're going to have to earn your way up in this batting order. We're not going to just put you there because we think you can do it. If you're not doing it, you're not going to do it. It did put Ramon Laureano in the leadoff spot. He went into a slump. Bam, Jackson Merrill's in the leadoff spot. Like he's sending a very clear message that you need to. It's a production-based business. If you don't produce, then you're not going to get as many at bats as you might think you deserve, or you're going to have to deal with that. So yeah, Craig has been really, really good so far.
Derek Togerson, NBC 7, joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760. Togs, I feel like you just might have fixed Tatis. How do you fix Manny Machado? Because he's bunting yesterday, which I get it, like the third baseman was deep, but you're Manny Machado. Why are you ever bunting the baseball? What do you think has gone on with Manny, who's hitting in the 200s? I feel like he's going to get to his career numbers, but right now something seems a little off.
Well, the thing about Manny bunting is he ain't fast.
Right.
So, well, the strategy might, in a vacuum, say, oh, the third baseman was back. Yeah, but he's still faster to the baseball than you are down the line. So I don't know what he was thinking there. I don't know. With Manny, again, he's one of those guys who we've seen slump early, and then when June comes around, the weather warms up, he goes on a 2-month heater. So I think he's probably earned the benefit of the doubt that at some point we started to see it down in Mexico City, and he carried that into the first couple games at Petco Park, and bam, he's got the calf issue. So maybe he's a little hampered by that. But if he's hampered by the calf, why the hell are you trying to leg out a bunt? So obviously, by that, he's telling us that the calf is fine. So with him, I don't know. But I've stopped trying to figure out Manny. All we try to do is help him, and he just wants to be combative. So if he's just going to do things his own way because he thinks he knows better than anybody else, fine, prove it. But at this point, he's got his way, and he's stuck in it. And come hell or high water, he's going to do whatever he thinks is going to be best. And through the first decade plus of his career, he's been right. So I think we just have to ride this out a little bit more. But I think he's another prime candidate to, hey, guess what? You're hitting sixth. Deal with it.
A lot of the national pundits, when they kind of talk about the Padres, have kind of, I don't know, poured cold water on them a little bit in the sense of that they haven't beaten a lot of great teams so far this year. Do you subscribe to that, or do you think it's kind of an overplayed narrative a month and a half in?
They've beaten a lot of great pitchers early in the year. That's got something to do with it. They've beaten a lot of really, really good pitchers. So maybe the teams themselves aren't that great, but they are scoring runs against pretty good pitchers. And isn't the thing about like Indiana is supposed to beat Northwestern, and that's how you win championships. So the Padres are doing what they're supposed to be doing, except for the White Sox for some inexplicable reason, in beating beating teams they're supposed to beat, and they're being competitive with the other teams. They're the ones that finally beat the Cubs, and the Cubs have been the hottest team in baseball, and they were in the other two games against them. So yeah, they're playing well against really good teams, even though they still have all these injury issues, and they haven't had their stars get hot, and they've beaten the teams that they have had to beat, or they should be beating. So I see no problem here. That's the national pundits just not wanting to admit that they were wrong, and the Padres are better than they thought they were.
All right, Togs, that's some good Padres insight. I know we got to get you out of here pretty soon, so I want to get your thoughts on this. You're a big college basketball guy. I'm a big college basketball guy. NCAA tournament officially expanding to 76 teams. They're going to expand the play-in, so instead of the first 4, it's going to be the first 12. Your initial thoughts on this, whether it's going to be a disaster or going to be great for the sport?
I think it's great. Okay. I don't know where all the consternation comes from. I know the first thing that, dummies like, Mad Dog, whatever the hell his name is, like they say, they can't win the national championship. Guess what, Sparky? 15 teams go to the national championship anyway, so 64, 68 is way too many in the first place. That's not what this is about. It's not about finding more national championship caliber teams. It's about getting more eyes on the sport. And oh, by the way, all these teams, these other 8 teams are going to get in. They're going to get NCAA tournament shares now, and that is going to help those programs. So now you might get 2 from the Big West. You might get UC Irvine and UC San Diego gets to take another trip there, and that would be huge for that program. Or you're going to get, if San Diego State played Oklahoma in the regular season, it'd be a pretty big deal, right? Well, if they played them in the NCAA tournaments, it becomes an even bigger deal. And those are the first 2 teams out from last tournament. So you can't tell me that getting more eyes on the sport and the NCAA sharing more of the money they've been making hand over fist for God knows how many years and giving it to the programs, especially in the NIL era with these shares, is a bad thing. I refuse to accept that.
I do wonder if part of this, the expansion, is the fact that the NIT really isn't what the NIT was. And so there's more teams out there who are competitive, who should probably have a postseason home. I don't know. I'm curious about this. I haven't made a decision yet whether I like it or not, Derek. I don't know if you can tell. I'm somewhere in the middle right now. I'm more okay with it now than I was 2 weeks ago.
Even more than who wins it, what do we remember? the Cinderella.
Right.
We remember Gonzaga making a run before they were anything. We remember Wichita State. We remember Loyola Chicago. We remember.
Don't
these
you leave
teams,
Dayton off that list?
Yeah, we remember these teams. We remember them more than who won the national championships that year. So you're going to tell me you're going to have more chances for Cinderellas to happen, and that's a bad thing.
Sure.
Okay, well then you're an idiot.
All right, Togs, we got to get you out of here. But what do you have coming up on NBC?
Oh, we're going to be live at Pickle Park tonight, baby. We got Cardinals, the very old, much better than people thought they were Cardinals coming to town. Yeah, I'm going to do a little stuff talking about SDFC, trying to figure out if they can, get off this winless streak that they're on, going up to Seattle. So yeah, we got the Seals in the playoffs again, possibly going to the finals. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on over here.
SDFC just keeping San Diegans in San Diego. Jacob Jackson guaranteed through the 2026 season. The goalie for Jacob Jackson. Good for SDFC. All right, Tokes. Talk to you later.
See y'all.
Derek Togerson, NBC 7. Always appreciate his time. Loved his thoughts on Fernando Tatis Jr. And I also, my favorite part of that whole interview we just did with Derek Togerson was him talking about Manny Machado, because it's the same thing we all feel about Manny Machado. It's just like, he'll probably figure it out. I'm done trying to analyze this game. He'll probably hit 275 with 25 home runs, and we'll see how long it takes him to get there.
Right. Manny Machado is the prime.
He's tough.
The prime example of how baseball is the most mental sport.
Yeah.
Because when Machado's on and he's kind of playing with that swag that we know Machado can, he's unbelievable. And then there's times where you watch him play at the plate and he literally looks like he can't hit a baseball. It really is kind of hard to figure out. I don't know why it's odd that every year there's these massive slumps. I mean, every single season we're having the same conversation. Manny's on a heater. Manny can't hit a baseball. It just feels like he ends up getting his numbers. But at some point, he's getting up there in age, played a lot of MLB seasons. You do the slumps start becoming a little bit more concerning because he's not 25 anymore, right, where he's going to figure it out.
Some of these texts coming in were hilarious during Togerson's interview. 858, less steroids, slower bat speed, flatten the angle. It's simple. That's why Tatis isn't hitting. 858 also said it oddly happened right when his training buddy Go Far Pro Far got popped for roids.
760 says, I can explain why the Padres didn't beat the effing White Sox because I spent a bunch of money to go to one of those games.
You're the curse. 760. This is your fault. This is your fault. All right. Speaking of your fault, Sammy's long shots did not win last night.
We missed
by points.
By 4 points.
It's crazy. Vegas is in Sammy's head. I think that's what's going on.
I'm literally giving out hockey locks left and right in the Knicks and Sixers. The Sixers want to go 4-19 in the fourth quarter. I don't. We need a couple of those shots to fall, and we're all sitting here eating good today.
At what point am I in charge of long shots for a day?
You've missed every time you've even added a pick.
At what point am I in charge of long shots for a day?
go 2 or 3 every time. You can't even go 1 for 1 when you've added on. Remember,
it's really great in horseshoes when you get really close.
Remember when you're big John Rahm? Let's all put the bank account. John Rahm, he's gonna win the Masters.
It's okay. The only 2 bets that matter are Brock Purdy MVP, Niners Super Bowl this year. That's going to make me rich. It's San Diego Sports 760. Let's all get rich off of Sammy's picks coming up next live on the iHeartRadio app. It's scary out there on the streets, man. One afternoon, you're just playing with your kids in the backyard. All of a sudden, torn meniscus. That is the story.
Matthew Boyd.
Of Matthew Boyd, the Cubs player this year who's had a really nice start to the season, is going to miss months because he tore his meniscus playing with his kids in the backyard. Rough. Wait, his next contract is going to be like no playing with children outside. They'll be like, why is this one in there, Matthew? That's kind of a weird addendum.
Do not speak to what we always say here. Never put family first. Look what just happened.
That is not a we thing. That is
look what just happened. Look what just happened. Now all of a sudden he does not have a contract.
Sammy is unmarried, has no children, he might have a kid out there somewhere. Who knows with Sammy Long? I mean, look at the guy. But unmarried, no kids, no nieces and nephews. I don't think Sammy fully gets the family thing yet, but he will one day, and then he'll look back and realize that he probably just
Matthew Boyd cost himself millions of dollars. So Matthew Boyd's probably singing a different tune today in the city of Chicago.
It doesn't matter if you get hurt in baseball, you're still making money.
Yeah.
Not in 2027 because there isn't going to be baseball. We'll talk about
Joe
that
Lacob
in just a little bit. Yeah, Joe Lacob may have said the quiet part out loud. That's how we're opening up hour number 2 if you were curious. But Sammy, it's time for some long shots. Now, I can't help but notice there's tennis on our TV right now.
Yes, there is.
You know, like sometimes it's stormy weather out on the open seas and you just need to find safe harbor somewhere. Over the years, tennis has been safe harbor.
Tennis has been very kind to long shots over the years.
Can we please get some tennis in the lineup today?
We do have some tennis. And by the way, Roland Garros, 2 weeks away, the French Open. Fletch and I are the champions of Roland Garros.
We just need to make some money some way, somehow. So maybe tennis is the answer. Tennis is our safe harbor on a dark and stormy night deep out in the oceans of San Diego, where apparently there's a ton of sharks swimming around right now. Sammy, smash.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Pay that man his money.
With long shots.
You see that? Apparently there's a bunch of like juvenile great white sharks swimming around Del Mar and La Jolla right now.
That's why it's better to just sit on the sand.
They're like the teenage sharks who are still growing, so they're eating all the time, so they don't care what they're eating. They're just looking for meat. We are meat, Sammy.
Are you a big go to the beach and get in guy, or you would sit there, drink some beer on the beach?
If I go
is that legal still?
to the beach, I am getting in the ocean. The problem is, ever since I moved to East County, I really don't ever go to the beach anymore, which hurts, if I'm being honest. I used to, during COVID, dude, I went to Coronado pretty much every single day because it was parking wide open. You could get on the beach whenever. I went almost every single day during COVID, and now I haven't been in like 6 months.
I was talking about that with my friend. It's like, it's funny living in San Diego, how people are like, oh, you must go to the beach all the time. Like, I go to the beach a decent amount, but because you live here, you kind of go, oh, I'll just catch it next week.
Well, it's also where you, like, San Diego's freaking massive. Like, Ornberger lives in Pacific Beach. He goes to the beach.
Oh, he'd be there like every day.
2-3 times a week. I live in La Mesa, which is still like a 15-minute drive to the beach, and I never go. It sucks, honestly. But, Sammy, where are we going with long shots?
Okay, I'm leaving this up to you. Do you want a 3 or a 4-legger?
If it's tennis, 4.
Okay. We have a tennis pick, a hockey pick, and 2 NBA picks. We're starting with tennis.
Why don't we do this? All right. One of each. Pick your favorite NBA pick. We'll go 3. We need a winner. Okay. My NBA picks are locks, bro.
Yeah, my NBA picks are locked. So I think getting us one NBA.
All right. No Lakers pick. They're out of the equation.
No.
They're out of the equation.
No.
All right. Then me and all our listeners are going to not do the Lakers pick.
You can veto one.
The Lakers pick. I'll veto it before it even happens.
You don't even know. First off, you know what? I ain't got time for you right now. Okay. We are going to Rome. Okay. The ATP Rome. I know everyone is locked in San Diego. Listen,
I'm ready.
Tennis channel, late at night, very relaxing way to wind down.
Sabalenka on the TV right now.
Arnia, number 1 tennis player in the world, putting some work in, number 1, up a set. Anyway, Novak Djokovic, Dino Prezimic, the Croatian, taking on at 5:10 in the morning. Guys, you get a little workout in. Make sure you're locked into some tennis because we know my NBA picks and NHL picks are going to cash tonight. This is going to be the last leg of it. All right, here's what I like. I like Djokovic in 3 sets. You can find this on Kalshi. Djokovic to win 2-1 is plus 173 right now. Okay? He's the favorite in this match. He's almost a 2-1 favorite, but we get him dropping a set. It's plus 173. Here's the thing. Djokovic hasn't played since Indian Wells. Indian Wells has been about a month, 2 months ago. He's prepping up, trying to find that 25th elusive major that would really put him, he's in the upper echelon of tennis players of all time, but would really put him to another level in all the greats. This might be his best opportunity to do it at Roland Garros. Carlos Alcaraz is not playing. He is injured, so he's out at Roland Garros. He beat Jannik Sinner in the last major, so you feel like there's a real opportunity for Djokovic. But in this matchup, Dino Przemyk, number 79 player in the world, has had a couple wins recently. Matteo Berrettini, who's a good player. Ben Shelton, the American, who has really been rising up the ranks the last couple years. These two have played before at the Australian Open, and Djokovic won it in 4 sets. Przemyk kind of made his hay, pushing Djokovic a little bit. Djokovic has not played against Indian Wells. A lot of rust, trying a real get back for Roland Garros. I think he wins this, but he wins it in 3 sets. Plus 173 on Kalshi. Lock that in. All right, Cleveland and Detroit. Give me Cleveland plus 3.5. Give me Cleveland plus 3.5 in this game. Look, in the first game they lost by 10. Detroit punked them, and that's been the concern with this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Is they're not tough. Like, they have all the finesse players in the world. Max Strus, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden. There's a lot of pressure on these guys because James Harden has been labeled a playoff choke artist over the years. His stats over the years in the playoffs have really been frankly terrible. And Donovan Mitchell has not really won either. In that game 1, Mitchell had 23 points, shot 9 of 19 from the field. James Harden shot 6 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. I don't expect that to happen again. Strus did have 19 off the bench, but Jared Allen only took 4 shots. He's got to be a much bigger factor tonight. I think they need this game. Evan Mobley only had 14 points. I think the front court is a little bit more of a factor against Duren and Isaiah Stewart because they saw him in game 1. They need this game. I believe they get it tonight. Plus 3.5. Give me the Cavs. All right, let's go to the Lakers and Thunder. Over, this number's moving up right now, but I like the over 212.5. It started at 210.5. Look, Shea was held to under 20 points, and the Lakers still lost. I expect Shea to have a much bigger performance. I expect JJ Redick to have to come with something different than besides the double team. Jared Vanderbilt is doubtful for the Lakers. That's one of their prime defenders who will not be playing. I also don't believe Austin Reeves in this game 2 will have as bad of a showing. 3 of 16 from the field was frankly abysmal. And there's a lot of pressure on him. He's got a contract he's got to earn in the offseason. I do think this is a much higher scoring game. I think Oklahoma City gets it together earlier on after they've seen the Lakers front wave. And I just believe Marcus Smart had a bad game 1. Austin Reeves had a bad game 1. There's a lot of opportunity for growth here, especially when we're talking about points from the Lakers starters. I believe that they go over 212.5. Do you want a hockey pick?
Yeah, give it to us quickly.
All right. I like the under 5.5 in the Flyers and Hurricanes. Flyers have been on the downturn ever since they, kind of slid past the Pittsburgh Penguins after going up 3-0 in that series. Anderson is one of the best goalies, and Dan Vladar as well for the Flyers. They've been the best 1 and 2 goalies in the entire playoff. Trevor Zegras and Travis Konecny have not been playing well for Philadelphia. You do feel like this is their last stand, getting the game at home in game 3. I like the under 5.5 total goals in the NHL tonight.
That's a little 10 extra cash right there. That's what I just put in. Good work, Sammy. We'll see if it works out. Hopefully we start a new streak come tomorrow. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760, and I said let's get rich off of Sammy's picks. I did not mean his feet picks that he's going to start posting online. I meant his sports picks that he just gave you. It is San Diego Sports 760. Hour 2, we got Coach Quintera jumping on the show, plus Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, may have said the quiet part out loud when it comes to Major League Baseball. Let's get to it on the other side, live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Padres back home tonight at Petco Park, taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. We're bringing a record of 21-15. Michael King will be on the mound for the Pods, while Matthew Liberatore will be going for the Cards. That game is at 7:00 on ESPN. In the Lake Show, Game 2 against Oklahoma City Thunder tonight, 6:30 here, right here on San Diego Sports 760. OKC is a 15.5-point favorite. Jared Vanderbilt is doubtful after injuring his finger in Game 1, and Luke Kennard is questionable with neck soreness for Game 2. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
I'm excited about it. It brings a lot of people together.
Now, live from the East Set Studios of San Diego Sports 760, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Sammy will keep the party rolling after that for an hour till 3. Schaefer and Sliwa, John Schaefer and Alan Sliwa, will take you the rest of the way home on your afternoon drive. All right, we teased it. Here's the story. Joe Lacob, who is the owner of the Golden State Warriors, who had a bid in to own the San Diego Padres. Maybe the earliest name we saw associated with buying the San Diego Padres was Joe Lacob. Perspective first. Joe Lacob purchased in 2011 or 2010, I want to say, the Warriors for $450 million. Sam, any guess on where the Warriors are valued at right now? He bought it in 2010 for $450.
Oh, I'm going to say $5 billion.
Let's try $11.3 billion.
Oh,
the
wow.
Golden State Warriors, one of the most highly valued franchises, according to Sportico, their valuation of the team in the entire NBA. The Golden State Warriors have gone from kind of a forgotten basketball team rotting away in the Oracle parking lot, which was the same parking lot as the Oakland Athletics at the time where the Coliseum was, to the Chase Center, one of the most beautiful arenas in all of professional basketball, and worth one of the top billings. Now, Steph Curry had a lot to do with that, but Joe Lacob's ownership had a lot to do with that. He took a team that was worth nothing, made them worth a ton. Joe Lacob was at a press conference with Sportico where he said these words. Ready for this? When doing the when he put his bid in for the Padres, he said, "We assumed likely not a season next year." Meaning in 2027, when he was going through the process of trying to purchase the Padres, which he also said in this article that he had the second highest bid, he said he did this assuming that there would not be a Major League Baseball season in 2027. So he also went on to say, look, some people called Jose Feliciano's price an overbid for the Padres, and he doesn't think that's true. He thinks baseball's heading in the right direction. But Joe Lacob is not a dumb man. Joe Lacob has a team of people around him. That team of people around him said, look, you're buying the Padres knowing the fact that most likely there's not going to be a season in 2027.
Well, I think that tells you, A, it's a bummer if that's the case because we all love baseball and want to see a baseball season. But on the flip side, if you're looking long-term, look, I'm not in the mind of billionaires and what Kwanzaa Jones and Jose Feliciano's thinking, but you got to think that if your shiny new toy in the San Diego Padres you're about to buy, by the way, you bought them in the season. So this wasn't like you had a full off season to go out and sign a big ticket free agent or do all this and really make your imprint. Knowing that there's likely going to be at least part of a season, an entire season scrub next year because of the negotiations, you would think that if someone's willing to take that investment, pay $3.9 billion, go through all this, not have a season next year. So you're certainly taking a loss next year. That's no ticket sales, no jerseys, none of that stuff is happening. You're not making any of your money back. You would think this is a long-term play and have a real interest in baseball and seeing the Padres grow, because if you're going to take the kind of hit financially that they're going to take with how expensive it was off the jump, and then the fact that next year there might not be any baseball, it could be a good sign going forward that people were so interested in the team. And it's not like they got him at a discount. It's not like they got it cheap because of the lockout next year. So it could mean that they're willing to spend money going forward. And now, of course, the Padres might have an owner that's willing to spend money, and then a salary cap gets instituted, which, kind of goes against what everyone was looking for. But I think it's outside the fact that we might not have baseball. It's probably good news for Padre ownership.
Joe Lacob went on to say he believed that baseball would benefit for having more cost certainty in both the form of a salary floor and a salary cap. He said that would likely result in the same amount of money paid on players, but would spread that money out across more teams. So that's rare, by the way, for an owner to be saying that a salary cap would be good. Now, he doesn't own a baseball team. I would imagine his tune would change if he did own a baseball team. But look, Joe Lacob said what he said, and he might have said the quiet part out loud. I would imagine at some point along the process of his seeing whether or not it'd be worth it for him to buy into the Padres, somebody who knows something probably told Joe Lacob, hey, there's probably not going to be a season next year, especially if this sale goes through, because now the Players Association has the ammo of the Padres selling for $3.9 billion 6 years after the Mets sold for $2.4 billion. Mets play in New York, Padres play in San Diego, considered a mid-market team, right? Well, if the San Diego Padres are worth $3.9 billion, there's not an owner in Major League Baseball that can complain about being rich or being poor. Now owners have every right to fall back on the fact that they want a salary cap, but it's never going to fly from the players' point of view because the Padres just sold for $3.9 billion.
Well, right. The players don't want, this is the biggest problem, is the players and fans have two very different, very different thought processes behind this. The fans
don't care how much someone's paid. The fans do not care how much someone's paid.
Right. And why, nor should they.
The paycheck should be the furthest thing from your mind. You care if you're going to Petco Park tonight to watch the Padres play against the Cardinals. You care about what's happening on the field, not what's happening in bank accounts.
Right. You care. You want to see the Padres hang a World Series banner. That's what you're interested in. A lot of the players, we've already seen this. We've seen the targeted narrative was everyone's looking at the Dodgers. We've seen Manny Machado defend the Dodgers. We've seen Bryce Harper defend the Dodgers. We've seen major players in baseball, big time MLB stars that have lost to the Dodgers, by the way, a few of the last seasons, and yet they're defending it because they're looking out for their own interests, and they're sitting there going, yeah, I want a shot to win, but honestly, I'll take that extra $100 million in my bank account, because a lot of these contracts that have been signed, I mean, would never, in a salary cap league, you have to make tough decisions on who you're keeping and who you're not. It's going to get ugly because, right, you kind of pointed it out. The fact that they sold for $3.9 billion, San Diego, a mid-market team, they're going to point to, oh, that's BS. You have the money, you just don't want to pay it. But is that good for the game of baseball? Leave it up to everyone else to decide.
All right, turns out we got some shark experts on the text line today. We'll get to those in just a little bit. But this from the 858: if baseball strikes the entire 2027 season, they're out of their mind. In this economy and the way things are going, no one will ever go watch them again. It's uncharted territory, I'll tell you that much. What, the last time there was a big time strike was in the 90s. Baseball recovered. I think baseball's actually in a really good spot right now. I'm having a great time watching baseball games this year.
You know what?
Which I haven't always said. And so I would like to actually congratulate Major League Baseball on some of the changes they've made. I think they're working, and they're working in a big way. Salary floor is necessary, and I don't think anyone denies that outside of the owners of the Tampa Bay Rays, the Oakland Athletics, and a couple other teams near the bottom like the Pittsburgh Pirates. But a salary floor is needed for this league. I don't know that a salary cap is necessary. I don't necessarily think it is.
Right, the salary floor is just big of a problem.
Salary caps have always been weird to me anyways. Why is a arbitrary number put on something every year determining private businesses how much they can pay their employees?
I just, like, people fault the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees. Yes. Is it frustrating that they're able to go sign the best closer on the market and the best hitter on the market repeatedly? Yeah. But at least they're trying to win. And that's when half the teams in Major League Baseball are literally telling you, yeah, we know we're not winning a World Series because we're not even putting pen to paper to try and do that. It's what creates the talent and gap disparity. You watch, if the NBA was smart, if they don't have baseball next year, they should move their season and avoid the NFL.
Maybe. 858 also said Sammy's alternate long shots hit again. So he's just moving you down a couple notches.
Yeah, 858, dude. Shout out to 858. 858 always has some good locks himself.
Should we start doing alternate long shots, moving the point spreads?
I give my thoughts. Do whatever you want with them.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Let's get to the big three of hour number 2. Coach Quintera coming up in 20 minutes. Can't wait for that. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
858, juvenile white sharks are only interested in stingrays up to 9 to 10 feet, which is very large.
They only eat stingrays?
I guess so. Stingrays took out Steve Irwin, man. RIP to the Crocodile Hunter. 858 Fletch, get your own segment of parlays. Sammy's so good at it, though. 858, the juvenile great whites are docile and slow until stingray eating time. Been in the water with hundreds right by my feet, paddling between Torrey and Del Mar. 858, you're an adventure, man. I love that. Good for you. I'm staying the hell out of the water.
Yeah.
Sammy, where are we going?
All right, so specifically with baseball, the Dodgers actually. Another big injury. Tyler Glasnow, ace starting pitcher for them.
This was actually kind of scary.
Back spasms yesterday. He's had a career marred by injuries, even though he's a very talented pitcher. Now, Dave Roberts and him said he's not concerned about it. They don't expect an IL stunt, but we've heard this before. So, but the Dodgers injuries are piling up. Edwin Diaz, Blake Snell ramping back up. Mookie Betts is hurt right now. You got Tyler Glasnow hurt. There's a lot of players who have been hurt, and Shohei Ohtani is slumping. Do we smell a little blood in the water with the Dodgers, or is this just posturing early on in the year?
I think the better question is Tyler Glasnow the Joel Embiid of Major League Baseball? Like, seriously, Tyler Glasnow.
So Tyler Glasnow's won 2 rings.
Yeah, but he's unreal pitcher. Just it feels like his entire career has just been injured. This was actually kind of a weird moment. So Tyler Glasnow tried to throw a couple of warm-up pitches and then just kind of gave the "nah, I'm done" signal to the dugout. We'll see if he comes back or not. Blood in the water, it's kind of hard to say. The Padres or the Dodgers are the deepest team, maybe in Major League Baseball history. It feels like they lose one arm, they got 10 more right behind it in their farm system or in their minors or on their own bench that they can replace it with. I actually think in a weird way, this probably helps the Dodgers. You're going to get a well-rested Tyler Glasnow if he misses a couple months.
Exactly. Absolutely not. There's no blood in the water. Andy Paz hit 3 home runs yesterday. I mean, Andy Paz has been the best hitter on their team. That's in Shohei Ohtani can't hit a baseball right now, and they're still sitting towards the top of the division. Now, are they a perfect team? No. We saw this the last 2 postseasons. The Padres had them on the ropes. The Blue Jays had them on the ropes. This is not some team that just ran through everyone and it wasn't even close. So anything can happen in the MLB postseason, but you do feel like, we said it before the year, I felt like the best bet was the Dodgers win totals 110.5 to take the under. They're not trying to win 115 games. They've seen how that story played out. The Padres beat them. The Diamondbacks beat them. The Braves beat them. They would win all these games in the regular season. Their pitchers' arms would be dead, and they'd lose in the postseason. So I expect the division to actually be close. Dodgers probably win it, but it probably in the long run pays off for the Dodgers, but certainly something to watch. All right, in college basketball, so field expands 76 teams, official today, but also in San Diego State news, the Players Era Championship Tournament expands to 24 teams in Vegas, which should get a lot more big-time programs involved. What does this mean for the Aztecs going forward?
Not only that, but ESPN has signed on to the Players Era Tournament as the official home and the exclusive, the rights to the entire Players Era Tournament. Look, this is great, man. Somebody was going to come up with this idea, and Vegas and Players Era are capitalizing on it big time. I thought it was a great idea from the first time we heard about it when it was only 8 teams. At 24 teams, it sounds like they're going to do more of a bracket style. This is March Madness before March Madness. This is off-season March Madness, non-scheduled March Madness. I love the Players Era. I think it's a genius idea. The more you can kind of make it a bigger deal, which some of the teams who are going this year are fantastic, this is going to be massive, and it's going to give us a spot in the non-conference schedule for us to see some real top-line talent in the entire country compete against each other and have something that's meaningful. You know why it's meaningful? Because there's $1 million freaking NIL prize at the end of it. This is recruiting leverage for all the teams who are a part of it, the 24 teams, and most of them are signed for the next few years. It's recruiting leverage, and it gives you a reason to play your asses off before you need to play your asses off. I think this is great.
Well, I really enjoy the Thanksgiving week tournaments, like the Players Era Tournament. I like that you're getting more big teams in there, because 2 years ago, it's what got the Aztecs in the postseason in the NCAA tournament field when they beat Houston and Creighton. That's what got them in. In the month of December for college basketball can be a little bit of a drone sometimes, because before the conference schedule starts, a lot of teams don't schedule any landmines. They want to make sure it's a very easy schedule. So it's fun now that right at the beginning of the year, we kind of get some big time matchups that we're able to look for later in the season, and really can get some teams in the field in that regard. All right, Tracy McGrady. So Jaylen Brown has had quite a week. So they get eliminated last weekend, the Boston Celtics, by the Philadelphia 76ers. He goes on a Twitch live stream talking about the refs, Joel Embiid flopping, all this stuff. Tracy McGrady goes on his podcast and says Jaylen Brown has a frustration that quote lies deeply within the Celtics organization. Jaylen Brown reaffirms his commitment to Boston, saying he could play there for the next 10 years. Should Boston blow up the pairing of Tatum and Brown?
Jaylen Brown seems like he's becoming a little bit of a problem. Wildly talented basketball player. He was the NBA Finals MVP, right, when they won it. He is causing some problems right now. It's not just Tracy McGrady. Did you see him and Stephen A. Smith going back and forth on Twitter this morning?
Yeah, he was calling for Stephen A. to retire, and Stephen A. retire.
Why is Stephen A. Smith even on your radar, man? I wish this is a little Kevin Durant-y, and maybe someone take his phone and take his microphone for a little bit, just a little bit. Enjoy Cabo.
It does feel like Jaylen Brown is a guy who's been slighted a lot. He was Finals MVP. Remember, all of his teammates, Derek White, Jason Tatum, get picked for Team USA. He gets left off. He was the Finals MVP that year, and I'm sure if you're Jaylen Brown, deep down you're a little pissed off. I mean, you were left out to dry for a lot of the season before Tatum came back. Tatum doesn't play in a game 7, but it does feel like he's frustrated with maybe the organization, his teammates, and now he's lashing out at everybody for a guy who's always been pretty good with the media. Kind of surprising from him, but you wonder how many years you can run this thing back, because you felt like it was going to be a dynasty with Brown and Tatum, and it certainly hasn't been that. With Halliburton coming back next year, I don't know if they get back to the finals.
All right, coming up next, is Netflix getting their own day in the NFL? It certainly seems like it. We'll tell you the new news on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. We got Lakers Thunder game 2 tonight right here on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coverage will begin at 6:15 with the tip just after 6:30. Schaefer and Sliwa will lead you up to it. We got a text from the 913 that says, Fletch, how are you going to stay up tonight and watch the last pitch at 10:30 and get up for Bar Cart Friday? You're going to be exhausted. It's the morning radio has been life for the last 7 or 8 years for me. 9 years, Jesus. So yeah, used to it, but we'll see. It's worse when you're like hungover than going into morning radio. That's the worst, which I got that coming up in a few weeks because we have a keg and bottle event and leading right into a morning show. But we'll do okay. All right. If you missed the news, Netflix has officially laid claim to week 1's game between the Niners and the Rams out in Australia. Netflix
Wednesday game.
Yeah, not Wednesday.
Yeah, it is. Remember that's the day before?
I thought the Seahawks were getting the first game of the season.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Seahawks are Wednesday and they're Thursday.
Bingo. So Thursday game. So Netflix is getting a game to open up the season. The second game of the year will be streamed exclusively on Netflix. That adds to what they already have. Christmas or Thanksgiving. They have one of those days.
They have Christmas.
And
they had a couple. Or no. Thanksgiving is Fox, CBS,
right.
and then NBC.
And so Christmas is going to be on Netflix. We are plummeting to the point where Netflix is getting their own day of the week. They've already had talks. They want Sunday Night Football. In fact, there was an article written by Mike Florio, who is employed by NBC, who currently has Sunday Night Football, where he talked about the fact that, look, there's an out in the NFL's contract with NBC coming up in a few years here. There is a possibility Netflix is just going to try to blow NBC's offer out of the water for the next round of NFL football. And Netflix has the cash to do that. We are plummeting towards the NFL getting their own day of the week in football. I just want to let everyone know it's happening within the next 5 years.
I don't have a problem with it. I think Netflix has done a great job with it. I know every time a game goes to a streaming service, people get kind of frustrated, like they're not going to watch. And then the numbers for the games are higher than they've ever been. So I mean, the NFL can do whatever they want. They are the one league. They can put a game. We always say this in the Mojave Desert at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, and people would still watch because it's the NFL. I thought Netflix done a really good job with the Christmas games. I thought they've done a great. They've kind of
they hired Kay Adams to be a part of it.
Well, they've also done a thing where they've hired from a bunch of different networks and put together the pre, half, and post, which I like as well. I got no problem. I think Netflix has done a great job, whether it's been boxing or football or whatever, like every sporting event they put on, I think they've done a really good job with, and I have zero problem with it going to Netflix.
Here's what Netflix does a tremendous job of is hype. They are so good at hyping up events. In fact, Sammy and I are going to talk about it tomorrow. He may get into it today in his show. But the MVP Promotions has a UFC fight, not a UFC fight, an MMA fight going this weekend. It's Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, but on that card as well as Nate Diaz, who used to be one of the stars of the UFC. UFC also has a fight going on this weekend. That's going head to head with each other. Who do you think is going to draw more numbers? It's kind of a no-brainer in my eyes. I think Netflix is going to draw more numbers. And UFC isn't even a pay-per-view anymore. It's on Paramount Plus now. You can watch it if you have the app. So I think Netflix does a tremendous job with hype. I'm not upset about it. I'm a Niners fan. I am okay with the Niners playing their first game of the year on Netflix. I'm not okay that it's in Australia. But I think Netflix is coming for it, and they're probably going to get it. I'm very curious if the days are numbered or not, to where the networks you mentioned, Sammy, the NBC, CBS, and Fox, who have long been the home of NFL across all networks, how much longer that's the case. Because it feels like Amazon Prime, Peacock, which is owned by NBC, and Netflix may be the future of the NFL and where we're going. Or hell, YouTube TV may just come in and buy everything in the NFL. It's coming for us. Get ready for it, everybody. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. Coach Quintera is going to be joining us next. Padres on a nice little streak. 1-2 games in a row. Big series coming up. Starting tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll get his thoughts on everything. On the other side, it's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport's sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres 4-game set at Petco Park against the St. Louis Cardinals. Michael King will be on the mound. This game is at 7:00 on ESPN. And the Lakers, game 2, taking on Oklahoma City. OKC is a 15.5-point favorite. That game will be at 6:30. Hear that right here on San Diego Sports 760. Choosing the right home service company isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about trusting who's in your home. That's why homeowners count on Anderson for friendly professional service that keeps everything running right. Visit AndersonPHA.com.
SDFC back on the road on Saturday. They got the Seattle Sounders. Our coverage with Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez will begin at 7:00 right here on your home for SDFC in San Diego. San Diego Sports 760. Big one on Saturday for SDFC. Coach Quintera is here for his weekly appointment with us at 1:30 most Thursdays. Coach jumps on. We talk some Padres, talk some baseball with the coach himself. Coach, how are you?
Doing well. Fletch, just sitting on my patio right now, writing some notes for my podcast tomorrow morning, and kind of waiting. Tonight going to be kind of an interesting night. We got the Lakers. I'm sitting here. I got my little gray Laker T-shirt on, hoping they can win a game. But realistically, OKC is the best team in the NBA, and without Doncic, it's going to be very difficult. But I'll still look forward to the game. And then we got a late Padre game tonight because it's on national TV, ESPN. So going to be a kind of a fun night if you're a sports fan here in San Diego or Southern California.
It should be a great night, Coach. I'm really looking forward to it. Sammy's already got us set to go with all the bets that we need to place on tonight's action, so it's going to be a good one here in San Diego. All right, Coach, before we get into anything, if you're joining us on the free iHeartRadio app, I know a big push notification just went out. Welcome from the app. While you're there, hit that little plus icon, add us to your presets so you never miss anything from San Diego Sports 760. Coach, Padres last 2 days playing some good ball after a little bit of a slump against teams named with Chicago in the front of their name. But good to see them get back on track. Offense explodes a little bit.
Yeah, it was great. The Giants, I got to be honest with you, everybody's kind of hoping Tony Vitello fails up there in San Francisco. And I think he's got a good chance to fail with the ball club Buster Posey's put out on the field for him. I mean, if I'm a Giants fan right now, I can't be very happy with Buster Posey. This is not necessarily a Tony Vitello problem. It's a Buster Posey problem. He put together a very incomplete roster, let's put it that way. So, but you know what? You got to beat who you play. And the Padres, after dropping that first game, came back, played 2 really solid games yesterday. It was great to see some of the guys break out, especially Jackson Merrill at the top of the lineup. Obviously Fernando not hitting with power, and Manny didn't get a hit in the 3 games up there. So hopefully he can get it going here at some point in time. And Bogarts is doing a good job right now. And how about Matt Waldron? They used the opener yesterday, Bradley Rodriguez, and he goes out 7 pitches, retires aside in the bottom of the first, and Waldron goes in there and goes 5 innings, gives up the 1 home run, and pitched absolutely fantastic yesterday. That knuckler was working, a good sink on it. It was a great day and a very happy flight back to Lindbergh Field last night.
Coach, what do you make of Craig Stammen so far? Because Fletch and I were kind of talking earlier, giving him a lot of credit for making a lot of changes, pushing Fernando down the lineup. Well, what kind of letter grade would you give him so far?
Well, incomplete. And the reason I say that is we don't know how he's going to manage as we get, a 5-6 game losing streak. That's when you got to hold the ball club together. I'm looking right now. I'm not quite sure how they're winning games with Tatis with no homers and Manny hitting 212 and Merrill, just got over the 200 mark, and your catcher, who I'm very disappointed in, Freddie Fermin, hitting about in the 150s right now. I don't know how they're winning ball games. Cronenworth, got the concussion, but he had a bad year hitting 144. You take a look at their schedule. And really starting tonight, the Cardinals are a lot better than any of us thought they were going to be. I mean, they're going to be very competitive ball games the next 4 days at Petco Park, and then they go on the road. And towards about the 18th, the Dodgers are going to show up for a 3-game series. The Dodgers aren't playing great baseball right now, even though they got a good record. You watch them; they're not doing anything all that special. They broke out against a bad Houston team yesterday afternoon. But I think Craig's done a good job. I'm not going to give him an A. I'm not going to give him a C. I guess I'd give him a B right now. But again, it's incomplete. We got to see when things start going a little south, how's he going to be able to rally the troops? I can tell you this. I enjoy watching his press conferences every night a lot more than I did Mike Schilt, because you know what? This guy doesn't make excuses. He attacks things, and he doesn't throw people under the bus, but he's a breath of fresh air. I mean, I got to the point last year with Mike Schilt, I couldn't watch it. It was the same old story night after night, and if a reporter asked him a legitimate, honest question, he'd take offense to it. He always was on defense, and Stammen just wide open. Nobody's coached him up. He's just being Craig Stammen, and I think that's one of the reasons he got the job. He's a good guy. He knows the game of baseball. Is he going to make mistakes as a manager? Absolutely. There's no perfect manager. I don't care. Bruce Bochy, Bobby Cox. We can talk about whoever we want. But I think he's done a good job. I think he's relied on his coaches pretty well. Obviously, I'm sure there's been ongoing conversations about this hitting and, who's doing what. They got 4 hitting coaches, yet this team doesn't hit very well. So, but I think Craig's done a heck of a job, and it's been kind of fun to watch him grow as a manager here the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season.
Coach Quintero joining us here today on San Diego Sports 760. I think the word's comfortable, Coach. Stammen just looks comfortable in this role. I agree with you on the whole Schilt versus him press conference thing. Craig Stammen's a little easier to deal with on a day-to-day basis. All right, Coach, you mentioned about Jake Cronenworth going to the IL with the concussion thing, a delayed concussion that happened about a week before he actually went on the IL. But it does bring up a pretty interesting question, because Sungmin Song comes out and immediately has an impact on this team. He made an excellent play at shortstop yesterday, had the double the first time out. What if SMS is good? What if he's really good at the plate? What happens with Jake Cronenworth moving forward? Because Xander Bogaerts has been a damn good bat. Sungmin Song, if he brings energy and life to this team and looks like he can do that, what happens with Jake Cronenworth?
Well, I think, first of all, if Sungmin Song can, swing the bat, if he can get 250, 260, he's going to get playing time. But he really gives you an offensive threat as a utility man. He primarily has been a third baseman in the KBO. He's played second, hadn't played a lot of short, and that's been the question. But, boy, that play he made yesterday was something special. I don't know if it made a top 10 nationally, but that was a heck of a play. And, playing a day game at Oracle Park isn't the easiest thing in the world, and he made that play look awful easy. He had that double the night before, his first major league hit, that 2-run double, ended up getting a little worm burner up the first baseline that the pitcher went over and tried to field, and he kicked it by the first baseman. They gave him an infield hit, which they should have. But I'm excited about him. And as far as Cronenworth, hey, you know what? Guys that play are the guys that are producing. Cronenworth's not producing. And Fernando isn't producing power, but he's getting on base. He's hitting right around, 240, 250 right now. And you're not going to set Fernando down. He hasn't done anything when he's played second base that would tell you he can't go in there from time to time. But, Cronenworth, when he comes back, they may send him on a rehab assignment, let him work on his stroke a little bit. Remember, they got $60 million invested in Cronenworth, and you don't want to devalue your player by sending them to the minor leagues, optioning them out. They could send them down on a rehab assignment, but you don't want to devalue your property, because at some point in time, you're going to try to trade him, I would certainly think. At least of all, I would. I would have probably traded him 2 years ago if I was a general manager, but, everybody looks at ball players a little bit different. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a hard worker, but he obviously has not made any adjustments whatsoever at the plate that have led to him having more success. And so we'll see how Sungmin Song does here over the next week or two while Jake's out. And, there are going to have to be some tough, hard decisions to be made. He may have to be the utility guy coming off the bench if Sungmin Song's doing a good job, and you're not going to put him in the cooler over there on the bench, but you may have to sit him down from time to time, especially against tough left-hander pitching.
Coach Joe Lacob, who was looking to buy the Padres, mentioned yesterday that he was trying to buy the Padres assuming that there would not be a season next year in Major League Baseball because of a lockout. Do you think that means that Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones are more likely to spend because they bought the team knowing that there's going to be a lockout, or like how do you evaluate that they all knew that there would be a lockout despite wanting to buy the team?
Well, first of all, I don't know, Mr. Lacob was willing to buy the team and knowing there was going to be a lockout and have to pay a lot of people while you don't have money coming in. Obviously, you don't have to play the players when there's a lockout or a strike or however you want to look at it. But you do have to pay, the front office. You got to pay minor league coaches, managers, trainers, minor league players. And everybody's a little bit different on that. My take, I think there will be a lockout. I think the players will be locked out on December 1st of 2026. They won't be allowed to use any of the facilities for hitting, lifting weights, training staff, rehab and injuries. They're going to have to find their own place to go to a rehab center to, work on whatever maybe off-season surgeries or things they're trying to work on for the following year. And how long that's going to take, I have absolutely no idea. Bruce Meyer taking over for our old buddy Tony Clark. He's going to try to make a statement, and I know the owners are going to try to make a statement. I think both sides are going to dig their heels in. The owners obviously want a salary cap. The players definitely don't want a salary cap, and we'll see when and where they come to a happy medium. But I don't expect baseball to start on time next year. I really don't.
Yeah, they're in for some dark days. It was weird seeing those quotes from Joe Lacob, and to me, because he kind of backtracked a little bit after the fact, and so to me, it seemed like when he was in the final rounds of whether or not he was going to make the purchase or not and put it in his final bid, he had someone in his ear telling him, he's like, baseball's probably not going to have a year next year, and he was still willing to do it. He said he thought he had the second highest bid for the Padres, which means there's interest out there. But I don't know, man. I feel like we're in for some dark days in the world of baseball.
Well, Fletch, something that's interesting, and as they've talked more and more, and first of all, I think Jose Feliciano and his wife Kwanzaa Jones, from what I understand, and I read more than just the paper. I mean, I make a few phone calls, and I talk to some people that may know a little bit more than the average bear, and these people are really good people. I mean, good human beings, and they've done a lot of great charity work. They're out on a lot of different boards, and obviously when you have a lot of money and prestige and great degrees, I mean, from Stanford and Princeton. She was a track runner at Princeton, by the way. These people have done some things in their life aside from just, coming up with a lot of money. They've done a lot of great community things and charitable things. But one of the things that I've kind of wondered, and this is not against them by any stretch of the imagination, but, John Seidler is going to still be involved. And I just wonder if there were some people that wanted to buy the Padres that, wanted a lot of these minority owners, including the Seidler family, out. And then there's some that said, oh, no, we'll keep you in because it won't cost us quite as much money to buy the ball club because they're getting 40%. So about $1.7 billion, I think, on a team that was estimated at $3.9 billion. So you've got other minority owners, and maybe the Seidlers, because they still wanted to be involved, maybe they went with this group over another group that maybe didn't want them to be in.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this all plays out, Coach. We'll have a couple years to figure it all out and hear people like yourself with great insight. Give us all the news. Thank you, Coach, for your time. Appreciate you as always. Enjoy sitting on that porch thinking about sports.
Oh, I will, man. Nothing better, man. Getting ready for a couple of ball games tonight. One on the hardwood, one on the old baseball diamond.
It's going to be a good night. Coach Quintero, there he goes. Thursdays with the coach, always my favorite time of the week. It is San Diego Sports 760. We will close this thing out, get you ready for the night, run through long shots one more time on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. if you would like to win $500,000, get your booty out to Valley View Casino and Hotel because it's a Thursday, which means it's a $500,000 Pick 3 Thursday. Every hour from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. tonight, 5 guests are going to win free slot play. Then at 9 o'clock tonight, 3 guests will select 3 envelopes for a chance at $500,000 in cash. Visit the Main Stage Bar every Thursday, specifically tonight from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock to win big at this exciting promotion. To earn rewards while you play, make sure you're using that Players Club card. Get on out to Valley View Casino. Sign up to be a Players Club member. Once you join the Players Club, you're going to get over $200 in free offers to use instantly at San Diego's favorite casino, like free more play, free match play, $20 to the Black and Blue Steakhouse, $10 to Patties and Pints, a free t-shirt, and a free lobster buffet when you upgrade from red card to blue card status. Don't miss out. I told you about Thirsty Thursday happening tonight at Valley View Casino and Hotel. How about the $500,000 Pick 3 Thursday happening tonight at Valley View Casino and Hotel? Plus, you got to join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. This is our final time here. Sammy's going to keep the party rolling coming up next. Go along with Sammy. We'll get you a recap of long shots in just a second. But Sammy, safe to say you're a little bit of a germaphobe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Say, like you like to wash your hands a lot.
I do. I like to.
You're not
stay
a big
clean.
handshaker. You're a big. You're just.
I'm not like Howie Mandel. Like I'll shake people's hands, but one of my biggest pet peeves in life is when you're talking to someone and then they tell you after 10 minutes that they've been sick for the last week.
Sure. So are you all caught up to date on hantavirus?
No. What's hantavirus?
Oh boy. COVID-2, the electric boogaloo. Yeah, it's a little worrisome. So there was some cruise ship that was somewhere. And
I was watching the news about this at the gym.
all of a sudden, this thing's blown up over the last like 6 hours. All of a sudden, hantavirus is a thing.
Do we have any cruise sponsorships?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay. I don't understand.
But I would like one at some point. So let's be careful.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Maybe no names.
I've already pissed off Southwest Airlines.
Yeah, they're never coming on.
But unfortunately, luckily Spirit's out. They're
Maybe.
under.
There's some dude trying to crowdfund a purchase of Spirit. He already has like
ever want to
$88 million.
crowdfund Spirit Airlines?
Well, you change it, you make it better. But go on with your point.
But
Cruise ships.
the cruise, like you're just asking for something to happen. You're worried about glaciers. Number one.
Sure.
Number two.
I don't think glaciers impact cruise lines at all anymore.
Sickness. It impacted the Titanic. Sickness. Okay. Someone's sick. Everyone's getting it. You're jammed in close quarters, especially those family cruises. Like that is just like an incest pool of germs. Okay.
Maybe different wording would be good.
I said incest.
Sure. Sammy's, you're 2 for 2 today, pal. I do see what you're saying, but yeah, this thing's kind of freaky, and I don't want COVID to happen again unless they got another Michael Jordan documentary that they want to release. Because I had a lot of fun watching The Last Dance. I had a lot of fun watching Tiger King. I had a lot of fun on Friday night Zooms with my friends. Outside of that, COVID sucked. Let's not do that again.
Yeah, it was like fun for a month where everyone's like, oh, this is great. Like we're just kicking inside watching shows. And
like if I think about it, there were 4 positives that happened during COVID. A, I was still coming to work every day. Traffic, non-existent. That was great. B, Friday night Zooms with my friends. I've never been closer with my friends who live across the country
that was fun
than I was during COVID. C, we actually got some great TV during COVID. I don't know if it was actually that good. We were just all watching Tiger King at the same time, and that was a lot of fun. D, I didn't have to feel pressure to put on pants ever. Like it was sweatpants were A-okay. But that was about it. The rest of it sucked. I liked eating on the street with the street side dining. That was pretty nice.
That was nice.
I wish they'd bring that back, but apparently like fire code didn't allow for it, but whatever. Hantavirus, very scary name. Don't want it to get anywhere near me. Stay away.
Way to bum everyone out before the end of the show.
There's people in California now that have it apparently.
Yeah, I know. This is how it starts.
Man. What are we doing here? I thought we just went through this. All right, Sam, you got long shots for us?
I do. Okay, so we're going to go to the Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like the over 212.5. I think Reeves gets it together. Marcus Smart. And I also think Shea has a much better game. So I think the points are coming in bunches. I got the Cavs plus 3.5. I do think the Cavs end up winning this game. They really need to win this game. There's a lot of pressure on them. Again, I think Jarrett Allen shoots more than 4 shots and is a little bit more successful in the NHL. I like the under on Flyers Hurricanes, 2 of the best goalies going. Flyers really last stand here in game 3 at home. Got to get a win. I think it's tight in this one, and Trevor Zegras has not really been going off for the Flyers. And Novak Djokovic taking on Przemic, the Croatian. I think Djokovic gets him in 3 sets. 3 sets plus 173 on Kalshi.
A couple of texts in the show here. 913, great show, fellas. You guys killed it more than Gavin Sheets and SF. Smashingly well done. Thank you, 913. 858. Okay, this is good.
858's hitting some alt spreads.
So here are Sammy's long shots, except Sammy's safe shots, which has been now coined by 858. Says take Cavs plus 6.5, Lakers Thunder over 210.5, and under Philly Carolina 6.5. And it's 4.3x on Kalshi.
I like it.
I'm going to try to do that.
858 has had a lot of success with that.
Wait, so are you not putting anything on Novak Djokovic, 858?
No, that's a side bet for the 858.
All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. I'm done for today. Sammy's going to keep the party rolling. We will see you tomorrow. Schaefer and Sliwa 3 to 6. Lakers basketball starting at 6:15 tonight right here on San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
6.5.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. The Padres are getting set for the first of a 4-game series against the Cardinals down at Petco Park tonight. It's going to be Michael King going for the Padres and Matthew Liberatore going for the Cardinals. First pitch is at 7 o'clock tonight because they are on ESPN. And it's finally official. The men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments are expanding to 76 teams. How it's going to work is the first 4 is going to be replaced by a 12-game opening round. The Tuesday and Wednesday of the men's tournament will feature 12 games played by 24 teams in 2 different cities. There's now going to be 3 games each day in Dayton and 3 games each day in a second city yet to be determined. And we got NBA playoff action tonight at 4 o'clock. We got Cavs at Pistons. And right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 6:15, we got game 2 of Lakers Thunder. Pregame is at 6:15. Tip will be after 6:30. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Going long with Sammy.
That's going to be hot.
In depth on the story of the day. Plus, it's warm in the hot seat. Now, it's Sammy Long.
Big day today in San Diego, Southern California. Padres playing primetime, 7 o'clock, real opportunity for the Pods. The Lake Show Game 2 taking on the Thunder. Can they compete? Can they steal a game and make this interesting? A lot to prove for Austin Reeves. We're going to get to that in a little bit. As well as we got a couple big fight cards this weekend. So the UFC's got a main event. MVP Promotions with Jake Paul has a main event in LA. And boxing also has an event. We're going to get into what that means. And if we thought the UFC had a monopoly, maybe they actually don't. We got an SCFC guest dropping by at 2:30. And then, of course, Schaefer and Sliwa, the boys, jumping on for a little crossover action coming up at 2:45. We'll start with the Padres, though. 4-game set. Nice to see them close out the series against the San Francisco Giants yesterday. They, that game 1 against the Giants was ugly, and we were wondering where the bats were. It was nice to see him salvage that series. Now the Cardinals come to town. Now the Cardinals bring in a good record, kind of a team that's really, quote, overperforming throughout the start of the season. They're actually 6th in home runs. So that's kind of the power of this team, is that they hit a lot of home run balls, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing. A lot of their offense, 41% of their runs have actually come from home runs. So really up to the Padres pitching staff. Cannot give up the long ball. They haven't shown a proclivity to be batting guys around the base pass, but we'll see if the Padres can take advantage of it. The Padres, one thing that they can look for, one thing they've done really well all season is get the team's bullpens. And that's one of the big weaknesses of the St. Louis Cardinals. They rank 27th in the MLB with almost a 5 ERA in the bullpen, and they're 20th in strikeout rates out of their bullpen. So Padres not going to be out of these games. Certainly later on, some real opportunities to get after these boys. And it's a big, feels like a big series, because it was nice to see them beat the Giants, but we keep going back to the Cubs series. The White Sox feels like they kind of got rushed in that series, didn't take them seriously. The Diamondbacks, they split. They don't really have a signature series win this year. Maybe Seattle Mariners. Maybe we put that because of the amount of talent on that team. But we want to see it at Petco Park. We've seen them actually have more success away from Petco Park. This feels like kind of a big weekend for the Pods. It's cool getting to see them on primetime tonight on ESPN at 7:00. Kind of playing into that narrative. A lot of the major pundits, not that it necessarily matters what they think of the team, but a lot of the major pundits have poured some cold water on the Pods because the narrative of they don't really beat good teams. They're winning on the margins. Machado's not playing very good baseball. Tatis's power is not there. Merrill's been struggling, although getting it together over the last week or so. But they're finding ways to win. And this is a real opportunity on a primetime matchup where a lot of people are going to be watching, not just us in San Diego, to kind of prove a point against the St. Louis Cardinals. We also got some big news out of the ownership world. So Joe Lacob was talking about, kind of had a presser with Sportico had this. It was talking about he was one of the serious bidders we all knew trying to buy the San Diego Padres. It was one of the second to best bid that they had. Obviously, Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones ended up winning out. But Lacob said that they were, quote, trying to buy the team knowing about the lockout. So knowing that the lockout's likely coming next year, still trying to buy the team. And it sold for a record $3.9 billion. So what makes me think that is that if Joe Lacob knew there was going to be a lockout next year, then Feliciano and Jones must know there's going to be a lockout next year. So I'd love to hear from you. Texas 70470. Start your message with team. What does that mean for the future? Because my take is that if you're going to buy a team that also a month or two into a season, so it's not like this ownership group had the ability to go in the offseason and try to sign a Kyle Tucker or an Edwin Diaz or one of these big time free agents to really make your mark as the new owner of the San Diego Padres. They bought it a month in. So they haven't really had any opportunity to make any big changes. Maybe they were behind the Giolito signing. I don't know, but Giolito's a good player, not a franchise defining player. But if they knew that their prized possession is going into a lockout, a season next year where they're not going to have ticket sales, not going to have a lot of merchandise sales, you're not going to have the buzz because MLB in all likelihood is not going to be there, at least for a significant portion of the year. I look at it as a positive for the Padres, outside of the fact that they're going to miss a season of baseball. If you're going to buy a team and take the lumps early, which is what they're going to have to do financially because they're going to be in the red, you would think that they're interested in putting a winner out on the field. You would think that if you're willing to sit through a whole season, your second season of owning the team, your first full season of owning the team is not going to come till 2028. You would think that you want to make a big imprint and you're actually caring about baseball and caring about the Padres, not just putting saying you can own a baseball team, kind of putting it in your back pocket that you own all these professional sports leagues. Now, I'm not going to act like some big Premier League knower, but he owns Chelsea. And I know some of the fans over there, they recently fired their manager, but have criticized the moves they made. But they've also spent, I believe, somewhere in the ballpark of like $1.3 billion, him and the ownership group. So clearly not scared to spend money. I do think like baseball as a whole, what happens if the lockout goes through? And per Joe Lacob, sounds like all the owners are believing it. Per what we've heard, the players believe this, and especially with the support that's been coming from Bryce Harper and Manny Machado and some of the stars. A lot of the owners have pointed to the Dodgers. Like look at what it's doing to baseball. The Dodgers are spending all this money and having all this success, winning back-to-back World Series. Look at it, trying to get it changed. We've seen Manny Machado come out and support the spending of money from the Dodgers. We've seen Bryce Harper. We've seen some of the most powerful players and stars in the sport support this. And I really do believe over the last, 7-8 years, baseball has really been on the come again. The pitch clock, I think, was one of the best things that baseball could have ever done. I mean, I didn't need to see a 4.5-hour baseball game on Tuesday in July. I'm sorry. If you're going to make it 162 games, I don't need to sit there for 4.5 hours. I think it was a great ad. The runner on second and extras. I love that in the regular season. Speeding the game up, adding another fun dimension to it. ABS added another fun dimension to baseball. That now it's the drama and the fans are getting, on the Jumbotron or kind of getting into it. I think baseball has done a really good job over the last decade of adapting, because that's been the critique with baseball for a lot of years, is that they wouldn't ever adapt. They were so concerned about, well, we don't want to speed up the game, or we don't want to have ABS or all this stuff because it's going to mess up old stats. I mean, like, I'm sorry, who cares about stats from 1932? Like, I don't want to hear about that as to why we shouldn't evolve the game going forward. You do wonder, though, if they miss a year of baseball, what does that do to the sport? Not that the sport's ever going away, but it feels like there's been an influx of a lot of young talent. No one wants to hear it, but the Dodgers are a huge brand and has, brought a whole, with the Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, has brought a whole fan base to Major League Baseball that maybe wasn't there before, or at least at the level it is now. And you wonder if they sit out a year, what that does. Is there a lack of buzz around baseball? Now, it's not like there's any other major sports that has their season during the summer, so it's not going to be replaced by anything. But it would be such a shame to not have a season of baseball when I feel like baseball is in a really good spot. And I don't think you could have said that 10 to 15 years ago when it felt like a much older sport, not appealing to younger viewers as much. I feel like they flipped the script on that. So it's going to be a messy offseason. Obviously, we in San Diego, we want to watch baseball. It's one of the few big shows in town here. It'd be a real shame if they're not playing. And then you wonder in these negotiations, I mean, the players are going to point to, you don't want to pay us, but you just spent $3.9 billion on a mid-market MLB team in the division with the Dodgers. That's what they're going to point to. So this whole cry poor thing doesn't really work. But the fans and the players have two different goals. Like, as fans, I think we all want to have our team have a legit chance to win a World Series. So people point to the Dodgers, people point to the Yankees and the Mets of spending too much money. Just as culpable, and I think even more culpable, is the people at the bottom, the Rays, the A's. I mean, some of these teams, the Pirates having one of the best pitching staffs in the league and refusing to go out and get sluggers because their owner doesn't want to pay. I think it's worse. Because at least, even though it can be frustrating when the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets sign every player, at least they're trying to win. Like, at least they're going out trying to win. It's the only sport in baseball where there's a chunk of teams that are realistically not even trying to win. They'll tell you at the presser they're trying to win before the season, but let's be real. They know damn well they're not winning a World Series. Just in terms of talent, put your money where your mouth is, and they haven't done that. So it's going to be tricky. I wonder what the answer is. It sounds like a lot of the players have a lot of the leverage. And I think overall, look at this a couple ways. If you get a salary cap, it curtails the Dodgers, the Yankees, Mets, these teams from spending big money. Now, not that the Dodgers are going anywhere, because they're not going to make them redo the Kyle Tucker contract or the Shohei Ohtani contract or anything like that, but it curtails it going forward. If they don't give a salary cap and Feliciano and Jones are really interested in spending money like the Dodgers, could be the best thing that ever happened to San Diego, because all of a sudden they might be spending money left and right trying to bring top tier talent to San Diego. So tricky situation with Major League Baseball. I wonder how the champion this year affects it. Because if the Dodgers three-peat, then everyone's going to point to it's unfair for baseball, even though ratings have gone up. So Major League Baseball is going to throw that back in their face. But people are going to go, people are losing interest. The Dodgers are overpowered. It's not even fair. If a mid-market or a small market team ends up actually winning the World Series, and we've seen this year, the Red Sox spend a bunch of money, the Phillies spend a bunch of money, the Mets spend a bunch of money, and they are not performing well, you wonder how valid these arguments are from the owners, probably giving even more power to the players if the Dodgers don't end up winning the World Series. So a lot to unpack here. It'll only, unfold over the next year or so, but at the end of the day, hopefully Jose Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones are about business, about spending money. And you got to think that if they knew about the lockout, and it's not like they got the Padres at a discount. It's not like they got the Padres for $1.5 billion because the evaluation of Major League Baseball teams were going down because of the lockout. Then I think you'd sit there and go, did they just buy it because of the potential value a decade from now rather than caring about the team? You think if you're spending close to $4 billion on a mid-market MLB team that's in a division with the Dodgers, the Diamondbacks who are solid, and a Giants franchise that's not doing well right now, but is a proud franchise, you think that you have the interest of spending money and really creating a winner down in San Diego. So I'm looking at it as a positive. I think Joe Lacob's comments are actually positive in the fact that if he didn't get the team and Feliciano and Jones outbid him and Lacob knew about the lockout, you got to know Feliciano and Jones knew about the lockout. And hopefully that if we're looking glass half full is going to lead to spending down in San Diego to compete with the team 2 hours up north. All right, coming up next, we got a massive couple fight cards this weekend. Now, so much has been made of the UFC having a monopoly on MMA. And for years, Dana White has basically controlled everything. Well, now they got some competitors. I'm going to tell you who it is coming up next and if the UFC should be worried about the future of the league. It's coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Lakers Thunder game 2 tonight on San Diego Sports 760. Pregame coverage begins at 6:15 with the tip after 6:30. Lakers. I need some tonight. I need some life. They showed life for 2.5 quarters, but this is a big game for Austin Reeves. Like a big game for Austin Reeves. And hell, in the long run, if he plays bad tonight, and I'm sure we'll be getting into this tomorrow, whatever happens tonight, it's either going to save the Lakers like $1 zillion and could be the best thing that ever happened to him if he keeps playing bad, because so much has been made of if Austin Reeves is a max level salary player. But if they got any shot at this game tonight, any shot, he has to dominate. It can't just be LeBron. Reeves gives you someone who can facilitate, who can get to the rack, and not a lot of pressure on the Lakers, because I don't think a lot of people expect much from the Lakers. There's a lot of pressure on Austin Reeves tonight. Very curious to see how he responds. That's coming up later tonight on 760. Tyler on YouTube, maybe hoping to save on player payroll, knowing there's a lockout coming, and Petco generates a lot of money with non-baseball events. It's a great point, Tyler, talking about our conversation from the last segment about the Padres and the new ownership. Yeah, I wonder, there's going to be a lot of events, a lot of openings, Brent, next year at Petco Park. So there's going to be maybe a concert every other day or so. Unfortunately, wish the Padres are playing, but looks like it's headed that way. All right, MMA. So I was out in Vegas over the weekend covering. I'm a massive boxing fan, and I got a show not quite ringside actually on AM 570 LA Sports 9 to 10 a.m. on Saturday. So we're actually going to be giving away tickets to this fight, the Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano fight. So make sure you're listening on Saturday. But we're kind of at a weird inflection point in the sport, because when you have boxing, UFC, and MMA as a whole, we're talking about this the other day when the golf, everything was kind of breaking down about, can the live guys come back? And you got tennis players like Anya Sabalenka and Yannick Sinner talking about how they want a bigger cut of some of these majors. Boxing in the UFC is all about, can you sell yourself? Just because you're a great fighter, just because you're one of the most skilled fighters in the world, does not mean that you sell well. And it's about being electric. I made the reference. Ryan Garcia, local San Diego guy, was at the STFC game. People went crazy. He's had a couple losses on his resume. He got knocked out by Tank. Didn't look great against Rolly Romero, except every time Ryan Garcia fights, it's very exciting. Like, Ryan Garcia is a polarizing figure. He's a good looking dude. He's got a lot of power. He has a fun fighting style. So Ryan Garcia can have a couple losses and make a bunch of money. Manny Pacquiao the same way. Manny Pacquiao had 7 losses throughout his career, except Manny Pacquiao was one of the most exciting fighters there was. We saw with Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was smart. He knew that the way he fought outside of boxing purists, that doesn't appeal to the casual fan. Great head movement, throwing a lot of jabs, kind of evading for a lot of the rounds. So he's like, I'm going to be the biggest talker on the planet. So you're going to buy my fight because you either hate me and you want to see me lose, or you want to be a part of a winner and be a part of the money team, as he used to say. Now in the UFC, we got a couple events this weekend. So the UFC is hosting an event. At once a month, they hold their big card. They're all kind of getting ready for that June 14th fight on the White House lawn. But UFC 328, Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Chimaev is a great fighter, a submission artist, 15-0, one of the top fighters in the UFC. And Sean Strickland is 30-7, American guy, very polarizing, says a lot of wild stuff. I'm not a Sean Strickland guy, but he certainly talks and kind of has that same thing. People tune in because they want to see Sean Strickland lose, or they're a Sean Strickland fan. So wherever you fall is, people tune in. But Jake Paul, so much has been made about Jake Paul getting in the fight business and making a mockery of boxing and putting on these events. I'm not a Jake Paul fan, but I got to give him some credit in the sense of, he's taking the sport seriously, and he has been interested in putting on big events. So this weekend in LA at the Intuit Dome, they got a massive fight card. So Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano. Ronda Rousey, one of the former great UFC fighters, in the women's side of things, completely massive star. If you're an Entourage fan, she was a star in that as well. They're the main event. You got Francis Ngannou fighting in a heavyweight bout on the co-main, and then Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, two former UFC fighters, just starting that out. And I'm really curious who's going to do better. Like, what is going to draw bigger numbers? So that fight is on Netflix and the UFC is on Paramount Plus. What's going to win out? The UFC putting on an event in Chimaev and Strickland, and with current fighters, because all the fighters on the MVP card are past their prime, and with the middleweight belt on the line, the future of the middleweight division, is that going to draw bigger numbers, or is it going to be Jake Paul with the names? Ronda Rousey's a recognizable name, whether you've ever watched a UFC fight in your life. Francis Ngannou's pretty recognizable name. Nate Diaz, pretty recognizable name. Carried the UFC promotion for years. And it's a weird point in boxing and the UFC and then these other MMA groups, because if you called yourself the best UFC fighter in the world, or excuse me, if you called yourself the best MMA fighter in the world and you weren't fighting in the UFC, whether that was kickboxing or the Professional Fighters League, pretty hard to call yourself the best fighter in the world when you're not fighting in what everyone deems as the best league. That'd be like calling yourself the best best basketball player in the world. You're playing in the Euro League, not in the NBA. Like, that's not, you can't do that. With Dana White trying to get into boxing, create a boxing league in Zuffa, like he did with the UFC, where he got a monopoly on most of the fighters. Now, all of a sudden, because the UFC is lacking some stars, you don't have Israel Adesanya anymore. Don't have Conor McGregor. John Jones getting up there in age. Alex Pereira got an 8-fight contract, but he's 37, 38 years old. Who's the next star of the UFC? Now all of a sudden you're seeing competition. So Jake Paul's putting on events with big UFC fighters that, although Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano are not, getting back into the UFC and having long extensive fight careers, Nate Diaz is on the tail end. He's fought Jake Paul a couple times. But I'm curious what does better, because in a sport that sells with names, I kind of got a feeling the Jake Paul event's going to do better. I kind of think that the Jake Paul with the names of Diaz and Ngannou and Rousey are going to do better, because people turn that on and go, oh, I remember them. Oh yeah, I remember watching them back in the day, versus, quote, the better fights, which are happening in UFC 328. It's a weird point in the fight game. Dana White has always kind of been ahead of the curve. You do feel like with all the other boxing promoters lining up after he got into boxing, it's like boxing's actually getting what they've always wanted. They wanted one league under one promotion where we get the fights we actually want to see. In all the other promoters, whether it's Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, whoever it is, in their hatred of Dana White, are actually coming together under one promotion, which is kind of wild. I never thought I'd really see the day, and hopefully boxing gets back to what it was in the 90s. But now you got Jake Paul coming into the MMA game, and you do feel like the UFC, which really gained a lot of popularity over the last decade and a half, not that the popularity is going anywhere. It's always going to be a big sport, but you wonder if, unless they get a star, they're so desperate for a star, I don't know if they're drawing the same kind of buzz that they used to, because this Jake Paul card is drawing a lot of buzz because there's stars on it. Boxing has a lot of stars. Don't always get the fights we want to see, but there's a lot of stars in boxing. Tyson Fury, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, recognizable names, Gervonta Tank Davis. I wonder what's next for the UFC. It's all cyclical. They'll get their guy, but I'm really curious to see the numbers of what does better, UFC 328 or the Jake Paul MVP promotion. Again, if you want to go to that fight, it's up in LA. Be listening to my show 9 to 10 a.m. Not Quite Ringside. Colin Yee and I covering boxing and the UFC. Coming up next, SDFC star joining with me on the other side, Alex Mighton. That's coming up next on Going Long, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. The Padres and Cardinals start game 1 of a 4-game weekend series down at Petco Park tonight. It's going to be Matthew Liberatore going for the Cardinals and Michael King going for the Padres. First pitch is at 7:00 tonight because they are on ESPN. And it's finally official. The men's and women's NCAA tournaments are expanding to 76 teams. The first 4 will now be replaced by a 12-game opening round. The Tuesday and Wednesday of the men's tournament will feature 12 games played by 24 teams in 2 different cities. There will now be 3 games each day in Dayton and 3 games each day in a second city that they have yet to determine. And we have more NBA action in the second round tonight. At 4:00, we got Cavs at Pistons. And then right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 6:15, we got Lakers at Thunder. Ready to upgrade your perfect sleep setup? Let Mattress Firm's sleep experts guide you to the perfect bed at the Memorial Day sale. Top brands, ideal comfort, score unbeatable deals on both. Mattress Firm, they make sleep easy.
Ain't nothing wrong with a little heat. Getting warm around here.
Light the fires, Big Daddy.
Who's next in the hot seat?
Alex Mighton, SDFC, winger for SDFC, coming over from Nottingham Forest FC. Really excited, jumping on the show. Alex, what's up, man? How you doing?
All good, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm curious, the fact that you played for Nottingham Forest and you're from Connecticut. How have you seen obviously in England, soccer's the number one sport, but over here it's been growing so much. Like, could you compare the 2 fan bases? How have you seen America grow over the years in terms of soccer support?
Yeah, I think it's grown massively. I think I was pleasantly surprised when I joined San Diego, and especially in the first year, I think the fans, they really showed out for the team, and they were really important for us last year. So, we can see the excitement and the joy that the city is experiencing through the soccer team, and it's just a pleasure to have that kind of fan base behind us every single game.
What do you make of, you playing the Seattle Sounders come up here on May 9th? What's something that they bring to the table? What's kind of like a little scouting report for all our listeners?
Yeah, listen, they're a good side. They're a very consistent team, and look, we know every single game in this league is going to be tough, and it's going to offer something different. But, we're trying to focus on ourselves and build from the performance last weekend, which was positive. We're looking forward to it, and we're definitely ready.
What are your time at Nottingham Forest? Obviously, a very established Premier League team over there. What's something that you kind of bring from playing the Premier League that you bring to now the MLS?
I think definitely a lot of experience. Having played a lot of games in the Championship and then playing in the Premier League as well. Being at Nottingham Forest has given me a lot of experience playing with a lot of good players and playing at a high level. So, it's definitely been good to kind of bring that over to the MLS and over to this team. But I'm just enjoying playing with these guys and enjoying the new challenge. I knew it was going to be a different kind of challenge coming to San Diego, but just trying to take it game by game and in my stride. But I've really enjoyed it so far.
So much has been made the last couple months about the amount of red cards that SCFC's been playing. We've been talking about it a lot. Part of you loves kind of the edge you guys play with and don't get ever pushed around. But is that something that's been stressed? Like, is it you've kind of chalked that up to some fluky calls, or is that something that needed to kind of be addressed with the team?
Listen, it's of course it's been difficult suffering those amounts of red cards in games, and it makes it a lot more of a different game. And we're obviously not trying to get sent off. We're not trying to give the ref and put the ref in a position to make those decisions. It's just been one of those things that have been coming up recently. So of course we're trying to look at that and we're trying to cut it out. But again, some of the calls maybe haven't been in our favor, but we're not really going to focus too much on that. We're going to focus on ourselves, and hopefully we can keep that to a minimum on the second half of the season.
Have you guys seen, year one, you guys passed, all expectations and kind of every barrier that was set, going to the Western Conference Finals, starting off really well this year. Has it played into it like that teams kind of now, maybe not like last year, are circling SDFC on their schedule as a team that they want to beat? You guys have established yourself as a premier, club in the MLS. Has that, played into it as teams kind of adjusted to you guys, and now it's kind of about adjusting to them?
I don't know. Maybe it's obviously a good thing. It's a good thing that we kind of set the standards high last season. Therefore, obviously, teams are going to probably take us a little bit more seriously than they did last year. So we take that as a pleasure and a privilege, and we look at this opportunity as a challenge to continue to grow as a team. And again, we're a very, very new team still with a new history. So, we're trying to grow every single game, every single week. But yeah, we're just taking it in our stride and wanting to build from what we had last year.
I'm curious, kind of back to one of my first questions. You being from Connecticut but playing over in England, come up through the youth international level. How do you see the kind of recruitment of young soccer players in the U.S. versus in England? Because it does feel like we have the World Cup coming up here very soon. So many young players coming up the pipeline. Do you see a big difference between overseas and here?
I'm not too sure. I think, in England, it's like you said, it's the top sport. So I think we very much prioritize it over there. And look, when I was back playing over there and as a kid, everyone's playing football. Everyone's outside. Everyone's embracing it. And it was something that gave me so much joy growing up. So I don't know. I can kind of only speak for what I experienced growing up, which was football. England have produced a lot of good players over the years and a lot of good young players too. But, America are doing the same also. We're playing against good players in the MLS, and, a lot of young players are going to Europe as well. So I feel like there's definitely a lot of young players coming through the system and through America in this generation. It's really good to see.
Alex Mighton from SDFC joining me right now. This has kind of been a unique year, with the MLS schedule, World Cup. You had a big goal against Pumas in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. What has that been like, kind of getting to play so far this year, MLS competition as well as in the Champions Cup?
Yeah, it's been a good challenge. It's been tiring, to be fair. We came back earlier than expected from our break, but we've enjoyed the challenge. We started off really well in the cup, but it definitely, you could tell the difference with the amount of games that we had to play, and that did take a little bit of a toll. But look, we enjoyed the experience of the tournament, and going into next year and next season, we've got a bit more experience on how to deal with that. So yeah, it's been a good challenge.
Alex, I gotta say, man, your clothing brand's fantastic. Just Vessels, look it up on Instagram. What kind of got you into fashion? Because some of this stuff's great on there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've always been into fashion, man. It's a way to kind of express myself and kind of my personality. So it's been cool to kind of establish a brand of my own, and obviously link it to my faith in Christ, which is the most important thing, and trying to merge the two to create something special. So it's been fun. I'm working on some new bits in the summer, so definitely keep a lookout for that. It's been really enjoyable so far.
I gotta start some stuff with you and your teammates. Who has the best fashion on the way into the game, and then who could you help the most?
Well, the best, obviously, me. It's a no-brainer. It's not even close.
Yes, sir.
But no, to be fair, there's some good outfits going. I think CJ is good. His wife definitely helps him a lot, so he's got a personal stylist there. I'd say, who can I help the most? See, that's a different question, because that list is a lot longer, I think. I think Willie definitely needs some help.
Okay.
I've offered to go shopping with him a few times. He's declined the offer, unfortunately, but I was just trying to do him a favor, you know what I mean? So, I'd probably say him.
Why did he decline the offer?
What did you say?
I said, why did he decline the offer? You got a guy who knows fashion. Why would he not take you up on that?
Listen, I just don't think that's one of his priorities in life, which is fair enough. Me, I like to present myself well. I think Willie's just more bothered about I don't know, other things, I guess. But listen, I can't force anyone to be fly. You know what I mean? You either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Alex, you're the man. Alex Mighton, young star for SDFC. Such an honor having you jump on with me, man. And go check out his clothing brand, Just Vessels. The best dressed guy on the team, Alex Mighton. Thank you for stopping by, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yep, of course. Alex Mine, SCFC got a big match coming up 2 days from now against the Seattle Sounders. That was you hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Yeah, dude, I love it. Alex is like, why would you turn down a chance to upgrade your look? I mean, if I was a player making the contract, the kind of dollars that SDFC makes, I would be rolling in there. Brent, what's your go-to? You have a big fur coat on? No fur coat. What's the Brent?
San Diego? It's too hot.
I know, but it's you're just walking in. You're gonna put the kid on the jersey. It's about looking good for the cameras, you know. What's the Brent Sperry look? Were you going 3-piece suit?
No, I don't have a look. I don't think.
No, Brent Sperry's got a look. Brent Sperry definitely has a look. That was great, man. Thank you to Alex Mayen for jumping on and for STFC for hooking that up. All right, we got the boys jumping on next. Schaefer and Sliwa. I wonder what their pregame fits would be. We'll ask him that coming up next. Going long, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. I just had Alex Mighton on the show from SDFC.
Yeah.
And he's got a clothing line that we were talking about. Just Vessels. Go check it out.
Just Vessels?
Just Vessels. But I was asking him who the best dressed player on the team was, and he said him by far. It wasn't even close.
And so he's probably just rocking his gear.
His merch, Alan.
His merch. So he's going to, I think he's got a little bit of he's favoring his own style and his merch. I like it. He should.
And I was sitting there, I was talking to Brent, and I was like, if I was rolling up to a game, like if I was playing for the Lakers tonight, I'd 100% have a fur coat on coming in the building.
Fur coat.
No, that's a shame move, dude. Isn't it?
Oh, it is a shame. It is a shame.
Wearing fur.
What's your walk in though? You got to have like a dead animal on you. You know what I mean? Something like that.
No, Sammy, you don't have to have a dead animal on you, okay? First off, you're talking to a vegan over there.
No, here's what I would wear. If
That'd be a great contrast.
If I play the NBA,
he's wearing lettuce. I would full lettuce.
Yeah, exactly. I'd wear tofu. No, if I play the NBA, I feel like they've gone too full circle. Remember the NBA had the dress code?
Yeah.
And everyone was like wearing like suits and everything.
Yep.
Did the players have to do that?
Yeah.
I thought it was the coaches.
No, there was a thing. There was a thing back in this is like Iverson days,
Post
right?
AI.
Post AI.
People didn't like what AI was wearing.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was just AI, but there were a lot of players.
He was a poster child for it.
So there was a time where, and I think it had a lot. It was just like whatever you want to call it. It was a lot of baggy clothing, this, that, whatever. Kids, that's the style back then.
Right.
And the NBA basically put the kibosh to it. They're like, you're wearing suits whether you like it or not.
But now we've gone like all the way through.
You wear whatever.
Different than you can wear whatever. Exactly.
It is funny how coaches don't have to wear suits anymore. Like they get away with the tracksuit.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I didn't like it in the beginning. Now every time I see like old film, not that old, but whenever they changed it, and you see like Ty Lue on the sidelines with a suit, or you see Popovich with a suit, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with what they're wearing today.
I kind of wish the coaches were in uniform like managers.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
Lakers shorts and the jersey.
They got a number.
Tank top. Yeah.
The coaches would lose it. I feel like the coaches would lose it. But I will tell you something, and you've seen this from like LeBron. There was a moment where Kobe would do this, and some of these other players, they would just come suited up, like forget all this other whatever you guys are doing, because there's the Russell Westbrooks, there's the Shays, like the style stuff. Remember one time Russ came in, it was like a construction something that he had on. It was like, what the hell, that construction vest?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell's going on?
That was just to show off his abs.
Whatever it was. But like there is something about when these players come in suited from top to bottom, I'm like, that looks clean. There's a few of these, and like I said, LeBron does it, Kobe does, some of these guys, how I think back in the days used to come in like that.
It's funny because in baseball, they don't get the same like recognition entering the building.
No.
Every nationally televised NBA game, they show Shea
NFL is a king of it because it's
NFL too. Like, would you want to see Manny walking in like all fur before like a Brewers game?
I think it'd be tight. I would enjoy it.
Tuesday night before Milwaukee. That's pretty fun. I will say this, like behind the scenes here. So, obviously going to all these games at Crypto. By the way, when ESPN has a game, when I tell you, because where you typically are if you're working the media, where the press box, where the press is.
Yeah, where do they put you?
They'll put you in seats or whatever, but where the press is, like the media room, to get there and to get out of there, you go through this tunnelway, and through the tunnelway, then you go onto the court.
With that small marquee? That small marquee sign?
100%.
Yeah,
that's a little bit closer to the locker rooms.
Yeah.
But there's like this whole area for like where the players park and then they walk to the locker rooms. When I tell you got 2-3 cameramen just sitting there, waiting. And you know what they're waiting for? To get that footage that you're talking about of just what they're wearing. Because how much do you see that when they're coming in?
Right. It's social media. By the way, Padres on national TV tonight. I think it would be proper etiquette. Who's going to have the best fit on the team? Like if they show up tonight wearing some
T-shirt, Padres tweet out often like
they do a good job with it.
4-pack of photos of like, here's Jackson Merrill, here's Gavin Sheets. It could be any 4 players, honestly. And the players actually are very well dressed. But again, it doesn't get the same recognition as NBA or NFL players when they walk into.
It would be awesome if it was like just randomly. It's like Jason Adam is like the one that's fitted. Most flossed out.
Sung Moon Song.
Yeah, get one of those in there. Craig Stammen.
Yeah, you feel like you'd want to dress up?
Yeah,
I for some reason don't think Craig Stammen is going to be the guy.
Comes in just fur like no tomorrow.
Like I don't spend a ton on clothes. Like I feel bad when I buy like a $50 hat. You know what I mean? Like you go online, the hat's $45, $7 ship. I spent $50-something on a hat. I don't need it.
Yeah.
How much money do NBA players spend on their
they get it sent to them free.
Yeah, but I think they also are spending some money.
Now, I don't know if that's just a LeBron thing, but LeBron has gone out there. He's like, everything I wear, I haven't paid for. And LeBron has it's so funny to see him, of all players, that has leaned into the I'm a cheap guy. Like he has this like, oh, I don't spend. If it's free, it's me.
Yeah,
it's so
your net worth is
you're going to buy like an NBA team.
$850 million. What do you mean everything is
buying a $50 million home in the bubble without seeing it?
Exactly.
Speaking of fashion, did you guys see that little pop culture bit at the end of the day? Sabrina Carpenter and Madonna had a Met Gala after party. The Knicks tried to get in after, and they got denied. The hot goss in New York, they got denied entrance to the party.
How many Knicks players were trying to get in?
Fletch and I were trying to figure this out because we were like, Brunson would have got in.
Cat's not getting in.
You don't think I feel like Cat would have got in?
Why does Cat get this? Like, is that a necessary shot to take a shot
at him?
Is that a necessary shot? I don't think.
I think it's necessary.
It's like the Gobert thing. Like Gobert always gets a shot.
Yeah.
Why does Cat get a shot?
Fit in for me. There's something about looking at him. I'm like,
let me tell you who's getting in. How many people are we getting? You get 3 in?
I think you get a solid 2 to 3.
Okay, let's say
Tyler
we got
Kolek
3.
is not getting in.
Here's the 3 that I'm letting in. Okay, OG Anunoby's getting in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anne Hathaway loves him.
Yeah, but you can't get in if you're questionable for game 3, which he is.
Yes, I think you can't get in if you're on the injury report.
I think Josh Hart is getting in.
LA connected.
Personality. He's got like a good personality.
Yeah.
I'm not letting Jalen in.
You're not letting Brunson in? What about?
No, he's got to get in.
Our text line thought it definitely had to be Clarkson. People really thought Jordan Clarkson was getting in there.
Clarkson, I mean, if you want swag, Met Gala, there's something.
Dude,
there.
You shouldn't have Knicks in the Met Gala. You should have like Juan Soto.
Damn. Look at you.
Get it?
Look at that.
Met Gala.
You're on it today.
It's not the Knicks.
John Schaefer
today.
John Schaefer going on tonight in American Comedy Company. 15 minutes. Today. Go down and see him.
Not the Knicks.
My favorite of all that, you did a drum. Like a
I didn't even do
and he didn't do the drum roll. He just
radio,
did an air drum roll.
On radio, you did.
Everyone on the stream saw it. What do you boys have coming up today?
Who knows?
Honestly, we're not sure, but we'll figure it out in the next
figure it out.
Wayne Randazzo calls games for the Angels, but he's doing Apple TV tomorrow.
Okay.
Cardinals Padres will join us at 3:30. Evan Novi Williams wrote about Joe Lacob saying his bid for the Padres was contingent really on.
He thinks there will be.
He thinks there's going to be a lockout that could cancel the entire 2027 season. So he'll join us.
And some more Met Gala reaction.
Yeah,
I know you guys were on that.
Absolutely.
Coming up next, Schaefer and Sliwa. Keep on listening. I will be back tomorrow. See ya.